In the vast expanse of the universe, technology is advancing at lightning speed. Amidst this rapid progress, Aura Network shines as a beacon of innovation and vision. A team of engineers and visionaries set out to build a new NFT infrastructure that would change the way we think about ownership and value. Imagine a world where NFTs could represent more than just digital art or collectibles. With each step, we are bringing our vision of a new future closer to reality. Join us in the journey of transformation. Aura Network, shaping the future of NFTs and the Web3 realm.
Repeat Kính thưa quý vị, trên màn hình là sơ đồ thoát hiểm khi có báo hiệu về cháy nổ hoặc các tình huống khẩn cấp xảy ra. Quý vị vui lòng di chuyển bình tĩnh theo các hướng mũi tên trên như trên màn hình hoặc theo sự hướng dẫn của ban tổ chức. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn. Kính thưa quý vị, trên màn hình là sơ đồ thoát hiểm khi có báo hiệu về cháy nổ hoặc các tình huống khẩn cấp xảy ra. Quý vị vui lòng di chuyển bình tĩnh theo các hướng mũi tên như trên màn hình hoặc theo sự hướng dẫn của ban tổ chức. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn. Xin chào mừng toàn thể quý vị khách quý, các diễn giả và các anh chị bảo đài đã đến với chương trình GM Việt Nam Blockchain Week ngày hôm nay. Lời đầu tiên, thay mặt ban tổ chức, Thủy Tiên xin được gửi lời chúc sức khỏe và lời chào trân trọng nhất đến tất cả quý vị khách quý đã có mặt trong sự kiện ngày hôm nay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GM Việt Nam Blockchain Week. On the behalf of the organizer, I would like to send you the best wishes. Wish you all good health, success and happiness. Quý vị thân mến, chương trình GM Việt Nam do Kairos Ventures khởi xướng, phối hợp thực hiện cùng NHÓM và Coin98. Bên cạnh đó, chúng tôi cũng xin được gửi lời cảm ơn đến nhà tài trợ Kim Cương, Diamond Sponsor, Aura Network và đơn vị đồng tài trợ Platinum Binance cho sự kiện GM Việt Nam lần này. Ladies and gentlemen, GM Việt Nam is hosted by Kairos Ventures, NHÓM and Coin98. We would like to express our appreciation to our Diamond sponsor, Aura Network, and our Platinum sponsor, Binance. Vâng, thưa quý vị, đến với sự kiện lần này là dịp để quý vị có cơ hội trải nghiệm, tham dự các phiên thảo luận và diễn thuyết về các chủ đề blockchain, NFT, nền tảng kỹ thuật số, tài sản kỹ thuật số cũng như nền kinh tế số thông qua các chia sẻ vô cùng quý giá của các diễn giả và chuyên gia của chương trình. Thông qua GM Việt Nam Blockchain Week, chúng tôi muốn thiết lập và củng cố mạng lưới kết nối đến sự phát triển của Web3 toàn cầu. Đây là sân chơi đa dạng và hữu ích cho tất cả mọi người, từ những nhà phát triển, những nhà xây dựng, những doanh nhân, nhà đầu tư, những người đam mê tiền điện tử, cũng như những người dùng mới đang có hứng thú và mong muốn khám phá về tiềm năng của blockchain tại Việt Nam. Một lần nữa, Thủy Tiên xin trân trọng chào mừng toàn thể quý vị khách quý đã có mặt tại chương trình GM Việt Nam. Once again, welcome all of you to GM Việt Nam. Thank you so much for being here. Are you ready for some good mood, good moments? Good morning, Vietnam! Và ngay sau đây, Thủy Tiên xin trân trọng giới thiệu sự góp mặt của những vị khách quý của chương trình. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the presence of our distinguished guest at this amazing event. Let's welcome Mr. NHÓM, co-founder and CEO of Kairos Ventures. Mr. Lê, founder of Coin98. Mr. Howard Su, CEO of NHÓM. And our special guest, Mr. Phan Đức Trung, Standing Vice Chairman of Vietnam Blockchain Association. Ngoài ra, không thể thiếu sự góp mặt của các nhà phát triển, các nhà xây dựng, doanh nhân, các nhà đầu tư và các anh chị báo đài hàng đầu Việt Nam đang có mặt trong sự kiện ngày hôm nay. Và ngay bây giờ, Thủy Tiên xin được mời anh NHÓM, co-founder và CEO của Kairos Venture lên sân khấu để phát biểu khai mạc. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. NHÓM, co-founder and CEO of Kairos Ventures.
Good morning, everyone. Let me speak Vietnamese a little bit for our Vietnamese friend. Mọi người, ngày hôm nay mình rất là vui. Có hai điều sáng mình ra khỏi nhà mình thấy Sài Gòn đẹp lắm. Xong rồi mình thấy là sau hôm nay nói chung rất may mắn. Mình rất là sợ mưa, đang mùa mưa mọi người. Mà không biết là chiều nay có mưa hay không, nhưng mà sáng nay trời rất là đẹp. Welcome tất cả các bạn đã đến với GM Việt Nam và welcome tất cả các bạn bè quốc tế đến với GM Việt Nam ngày hôm nay. Và cái thứ hai mình vui đó là tối qua mình ngủ mình sợ là không ai dậy sớm để xem mình opening speech hết trơn á. But you guys are here today very early. I was so very happy that when I came here, so many people already. So super excited for that. First of all, I would love to say thank you to all of you here for spending your time at GM Vietnam Blockchain Week, the first ever. And then thank you to all the friends all over the world for coming to us. You flying all the way. We have like more than 5,000 registrations so far for the main event, and we have like more than 600 participants from international It's really a great traction to us. So, and I just want to say thank you to the organizing team as well. The team did a great job. And then would love to say thank you to, shout out to Thanh, Coin98 for having me. He's my brother since 2017. And thank you, Howard, for making this happen with us as well. Allow me to introduce myself. So I joined crypto in 2016. Back then, I think me and Coin98 was among the first team in Vietnam educating Vietnamese people about blockchain and crypto. Back then, the awareness, there's no awareness. I mean, like, there's still some awareness, but not a lot of awareness of Vietnamese people talking about crypto and blockchain. But we know that, we always know that we are the former of this whole industry. We are the early adopter, and we have to be consistent with it. So I grow Coin98 team first. It's a media, and then with just like 3 or 4 people team, we tried to survive during the bear market in 2018 and 19. And then in 2020, I found cash venture at the investment arm of Coin98. So far, our mission is to, basically bridge, become the bridge of Vietnam and international player. So we have the local builder to leverage them and get the exposure internationally. And we also have the international player to get into Vietnam market. So far we have been having more than 200 projects coming to Vietnam market. And GM Vietnam is part of the mission. We want to create an event that everyone can come. The local meet the non-Vietnamese player. Everyone can come here, exchange the idea, share the crypto journey. And maybe, just like some of the friends just come to Vietnam and enjoy the Vietnamese food and culture. So this whole event, GM Vietnam, I want to become the signature event of Vietnam. Every year, this will be annually. Every year, I will invite as many international friends as possible to come to Vietnam and gather. This is the first ever we organizing this. This traction, all of you guys here or outside, already a lot to us. So once again, thank you all of you guys, and hope you guys have a great week in Saigon. We have about like 40 side events around GM Vietnam. So hope you guys will have a great time here, meet the new friends, have a new network, new business opportunity. And yeah, that's it for my opening speech. Have a great time, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jen, for your sharing. Cảm ơn những lời chia sẻ của Mr. Jen. Vâng, thưa quý vị, với sự phát triển chóng mặt của ngành công nghệ blockchain mở ra những cơ hội mới cho những ứng dụng và giải pháp. Bên cạnh đó, việc cung cấp thông tin chi tiết về tài sản kỹ thuật số, các dự án phi tập trung từ quan điểm pháp lý, làm thế nào để chúng ta có thể đạt được sự cân bằng giữa tiến bộ công nghệ, tuân thủ pháp luật cũng như quyền của người dùng. Tiếp sau đây, xin mời tất cả quý vị đến với chủ đề đầu tiên của chương trình, Regulate Decentralized Assets, qua phần trình bày của diễn giả Phan Đức Trung, Standing Vice Chairman of Vietnam Blockchain Association. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Phan Đức Trung, Standing Vice Chairman of Vietnam Blockchain Association.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Jen, has very nice introduced about the event. Right, first time I'm coming here, I'm feeling it's a fantastic event. First time in Vietnam, like I feeling that's like I'm Dubai last year. Okay, thank you. Congratulations. I hope it's from event you continue next week. Next year, every month we has many international friends can come to Vietnam. I'm feeling it's a market not only focused to local. One time, congratulations you. Okay. I want to speak Vietnamese about slide this slide I present is many government agent. And today I want to share is the Vietnamese community about why legal framework needed in Vietnam. We are now in any country it is understood is legal framework very important support for crypto market. In the crypto space, it's the freedom, but why you need legal framework? Yeah, okay. Cái bài trình bày này của tôi thì sẽ bằng tiếng Việt thôi, thì cũng để cho nó dễ hơn, chứ còn chắc các bạn nước ngoài thì cũng tìm hiểu rất là nhiều. Nhưng mà cũng mong là đây là rất là cảm ơn cộng đồng của Kairos lần đầu tiên cũng đã cho một cái bài trình bày về luật ở cái buổi đầu tiên. Thì phải nói cũng xin giới thiệu một chút ngắn gọn về hiệp hội blockchain để cho các bạn nước ngoài bạn ấy nắm. I think it's Vietnam Blockchain Association is established one year ago. We are a non-profit organization established by Minister Home Affairs Vietnam. We has license is non-profit, non-government focused to support blockchain industry technology in Vietnam only. We are like bridge, connect with the government official, with community Vietnam, and bring international experience, is knowledge from other country, other government. Today, I hope it's after event is in Vietnam, we can exchange about case study and study success and not success in international bring here. Yeah. Bài trình bày của tôi thì cũng sẽ ngắn gọn, không biết là có dùng hết thời gian không. Mà thì thực ra nó sẽ gồm có 4 phần. Do là bài trình bày này thì cũng đã được trình bày rất là nhiều ở những cái buổi mà cái buổi trình bày mà cấp cao nhất là chúng ta được trình bày ở Quốc hội và Viện Lập pháp Quốc hội trong năm 2022 và năm 2023. Thì ở đây cũng phải nói rằng là cho đến ngày hôm nay, tuy là Việt Nam chúng ta chưa có một gọi là môi trường, một khung pháp lý, nhưng mà tuy nhiên các cơ quan quản lý cũng đã chú ý rất là nhiều. Và hiện nay trong tháng 7 sắp tới thì có một cái hội thảo về phòng chống và hiểu về rửa tiền điện tử, crypto đấy, trong lĩnh vực ngân hàng giữa Hiệp hội Blockchain và Hiệp hội Ngân hàng tổ chức cho các ngành ngân hàng. Cái này là theo một cái chủ trương mà hiện nay Việt Nam vào trong tháng 6 thì đã tham gia cái công ước cũng như là thực thi về luật ở trong cái luật về chống rửa tiền. Thì nó sẽ có 4 phần rất là ngắn gọn. Phần thứ nhất là chúng ta sẽ tìm hiểu một chút ngắn gọn. Cái này thì chắc là buổi trình bày đây chúng tôi không dành nhiều thời gian. Thứ hai là chúng ta sẽ nói về cái kinh nghiệm về quản lý tài sản phi tập trung gọi là Decentralized Assets và kinh nghiệm quốc tế. Phần thứ ba là nói về thị trường Việt Nam cũng như là cái cuối cùng thông điệp của bài trình bày này là gì. Thì cái vấn đề của tài sản phi tập trung ấy thì chúng ta cũng không cần phải nói nhiều vì ở đây là một hội nghị rất là chuyên môn. Chúng ta chỉ nói đến một cái quyền sở hữu duy nhất, đấy là quyền sở hữu phân tán và quyền sở hữu gọi là tập trung. Thì đây là mô hình mà hiện nay nó tiến hóa, nó đã được manage dưới rất là nhiều những cái gọi là mô hình web và Web 2 đối với Centralized Assets và mô hình Web 3 với Decentralized Assets. Có thể lấy một cái ví dụ rất đơn giản để chúng ta hiểu về tài sản phi tập trung và tài sản tập trung, thì tôi muốn dùng cái cách nhìn gọi là đến cổ phiếu thuần túy và Decentralized Assets. Thì ở đây nói đến nó là tại sao chúng tôi không dùng đến tiền tệ, bởi vì khi chúng ta nói đến tiền tệ chúng ta phải chú ý là chúng ta sẽ rất gặp conflict interest với tất cả các chính phủ. Do vậy nên là tôi muốn dùng cái hình ảnh là tất cả công ty đều có thể sản xuất ra một cái tài sản, nó gọi là tài sản chứng khoán. Và tất cả ở trong một thế giới tự do của các bạn, bạn có thể đều sản xuất ra một tài sản gọi là tài sản nằm trên chuỗi khối. Vì vậy và được hỗ trợ bởi mã hóa. Thứ hai là cái thanh toán ở trong cổ phiếu chúng ta để ý là thanh toán không được chia nhỏ và thậm chí lô nhỏ không được giao dịch. Còn trong khi đấy thì tài sản phi tập trung thì được thanh toán cắt nhỏ. Vì vậy nó có thể hướng đến một tệp khách hàng rất là nhỏ và nằm ở một diện rộng. Cổ phiếu phi tập trung, cổ phiếu thì chúng ta cũng biết là sàn giao dịch chứng khoán của các nước là thuộc sự quản lý của chính phủ. Còn tất cả các cái sàn giao dịch DEX thì hoàn toàn chúng ta có thể tự lập ra hoặc là tự tham gia. Cái này nó có một cái vấn đề là giá giao dịch trên thị trường chứng khoán thì thuộc cung và cầu dịch. Ở cái tài sản phi tập trung thì nó có những cái mức mà chúng ta tùy ý quyết định, cũng như là phụ thuộc vào thanh khoản thị trường. Thì tóm lại là tài sản phi tập trung hay gọi là decentralized assets, nó là một cái nghĩa hẹp hơn của khái niệm về digital assets. Nhưng mà để mà thuyết phục cộng đồng thì tôi cho là chúng ta cùng nhau phải tiếp cận với tệp khách hàng đang hiểu đối với tài sản tập trung trước và thuyết phục họ là tại sao tài sản phi tập trung sẽ là một trong những cái sự phát triển. Đó chính là nó không bị giám sát bởi một cơ quan quản lý, nhưng mà tuy nhiên nó sẽ bị giám sát bởi cộng đồng. Cái này nó là một đặc tính giám sát và vẫn luôn luôn thể hiện đặc tính giám sát chứ không phải là loại bỏ giám sát. Thì đây nó là một cái đặc tính mà rất là quan trọng, mà trong cái nhiều, chúng ta phải nói là trong vấn đề nhiều triết lý, người ta đã cho rằng là nó loại bỏ tính giám sát, không phải, nó tăng cường tính giám sát. Và nó thúc đẩy cái giao dịch ngang hàng. Thì ở đây nó có những khái niệm mà tôi muốn đưa ra ở góc độ về của những cái đơn vị mà nó gọi là thực thi về tội phạm tài chính. Người ta đã định nghĩa để người ta quản lý tài sản số. Chúng ta chỉ có thể phát triển được tài sản mã hóa khi chúng ta chứng minh là nó nằm trong một chuỗi về luật pháp đã được tồn tại. Thì tôi nghĩ đấy chính là tài sản số, digital asset, và tài sản ảo là virtual assets. Hai loại tài sản số và tài sản ảo này thì đã được hình thành và được các hiệp hội về chống tội như là hiệp hội về kiểm toán đưa vào định danh rất rõ, nằm ở trong các cái luật lệ cũng như là các chuẩn mực kế toán. Mà tuy nhiên tài sản mã hóa, phần crypto thì là một cái phức tạp hơn. Rất nhiều mọi người thì không tìm ra được cái sự liên hệ giữa tài sản mã hóa, tài sản số và tài sản ảo, chính là nó tạo ra một cái vấn đề hệ lụy ở thị trường. Theo cái phân loại hiện nay thì chúng ta có rất nhiều loại chúng ta có thể dễ hiểu nhất. Ba cái cột mà nằm bên trái của chúng ta nó là thể hiện cái tài sản phi tập trung. Cơ bản là tài sản phi tập trung. Đấy là những token assets, những cái gọi là virtual assets, và những cái nó gọi là token pháp định, hay chúng ta gọi là stablecoin hoặc CDBC. Đối với chứng khoán số và chứng khoán phái sinh thì đây là một khái niệm mà tất cả các bạn làm tài chính truyền thống đều có thể hiểu và nắm rõ. Những tài sản này đều có luật lệ rất là rõ ràng. Tại Mỹ thì là hai ủy ban là SEC và CFTC là cơ quan quản lý hàng hóa phái sinh, và ủy ban chứng khoán Mỹ thì quản lý độc lập. Nhưng mà tại Hồng Kông thì hai cơ quan này là một. Tại Việt Nam thì không có khái niệm về hàng hóa phái sinh một cách quá tách biệt, mà chỉ là sản phẩm thì nằm trong ủy ban chứng khoán và dưới Bộ Tài chính. Thì đây là một cái phát triển nó cũng mang tính đặc thù về cơ quan quản lý. Chúng ta chỉ cần làm rõ khái niệm này để chúng ta chứng minh rằng tài sản ảo nó là một tài sản đã hình thành và hoàn toàn có khung và bộ luật điều chỉnh ở trong từng quốc gia, chẳng qua là người ta chưa khai báo chứ không phải là nó không tồn tại. Thì cái này là cũng cộng đồng chúng ta cũng phải hết sức gọi là ủng hộ, bởi vì hiện nay những vụ tranh chấp hầu hết về tài sản ảo, tài sản mã hóa và tài sản số chúng ta đều cho rằng là chưa có luật. Thì ở cuối bài trình bày ngày hôm nay tôi sẽ chia sẻ là chúng ta đã có luật rồi. Các loại token thì chúng ta cũng đã quá rất là thành thạo về cái này rồi. Cái màu đỏ thì chúng ta phải thấy đây chính là vấn đề, nó giống như là chứng khoán, token này chứng khoán, nó gọi là security token, thì Singapore là làm rất là tốt về cái này. Ba cái màu vàng thì là nó thể hiện cái vấn đề gọi là utility token và được phân tách cho các cái token theo chức năng, nhưng mà nó đều thuộc utility token. Đấy là payment token và exchange token là phục vụ cho các sàn. Nhưng mà tuy nhiên tất cả những cái này nó chỉ đều thể hiện ở vấn đề tính chất payment của token. Cái mục cuối cùng chính là NFT, là một cái loại token mà chúng ta cứ tạm gọi là token không thể cắt nhỏ hay là chia nhỏ đấy ạ. Đây là một cái số liệu mà tôi nghĩ là nó sẽ làm một cái niềm hứng khởi cho tất cả các bạn mà đang hỏi. Trong bữa vừa rồi chúng tôi gặp rất là nhiều là hỏi đến câu chuyện là thế token này bất động sản có đúng luật hay không đúng luật. Thì theo dự báo của BCG, gọi là Boston Consultant Group, là năm 2030 thì toàn thế giới sẽ có 10% GDP toàn cầu là được quản lý dưới dạng token. Đây là một con số cực kỳ hấp dẫn, bởi vì cho đến nay năm 2023 số liệu này là 0,6% GDP toàn cầu. Đây là một con số rất là hấp dẫn và tôi nghĩ là nó sẽ là một động lực để cho chúng ta cùng ngày càng hiểu khái niệm token là gì. Chúng ta sẽ không ngần ngại giữa vấn đề về token bất động sản, token chứng khoán hay token bất cứ loại gì mà có tính asset back. Cái này thì nó sẽ tạo ra những cái thách thức rất là lớn khi mà quản lý tài sản phi tập trung, cùng như là cái lợi ích của nó. Đó là những cái quy định chưa rõ ràng, những cái thẩm quyền về còn mơ hồ, và đặc biệt trong cái yếu nhất của nó là cái đáp ứng về tiêu chuẩn chống rửa tiền, chống tài trợ khủng bố, nó gọi là AML và CFT. Thì trong cái trình bày về kinh nghiệm quốc tế thì chúng ta sẽ nhìn thấy ngay tất cả những cái này nó đều thuộc cái vấn đề mà các chính phủ ban hành, gọi là legal framework. Nó sẽ bắt đầu từ các cái chống rửa tiền. Lợi ích thì chúng ta không phải bàn, đúng không ạ? Tất cả chúng ta đến đây hôm nay là vì là lợi ích của tài sản phi tập trung. Kinh nghiệm quốc tế, ở đây tôi cũng sẽ lướt thì về tổng quát mà nói thì châu Âu đã ban hành MiCA, đã được phê duyệt chính thức và có cái giá trị từ vào năm 2024. Còn toàn bộ bây giờ là các hệ luật, các bộ luật dưới MiCA sẽ được điều chỉnh. Hồng Kông thì cũng rất là nhanh chóng và ra đời. Tôi nghĩ là bộ luật của Hồng Kông sẽ tốt hơn MiCA, gồm có hai lợi thế là Hồng Kông thể hiện rất rõ là tính chất quản lý chặt chẽ của chính phủ Trung Quốc và sự cởi mở để thúc đẩy nền fintech. Thì hiện nay Hồng Kông là một trong điểm thu hút rất nhiều các bạn trẻ đến để chúng ta quyết định là lập. Thì họ tập trung vào 3 vấn đề. Thứ nhất là quản lý tạ sàn, thứ ba là quản lý về wealth, tức là quản lý về tài sản, và thứ ba là quản lý về các dịch vụ khác mà có liên quan, kể cả truyền thông. Đối với cả bên Hồng Kông thì chúng tôi đã có, phía bên Hiệp hội Blockchain cũng đang thiết lập rất là nhiều với các hiệp hội blockchain của Hồng Kông, 2 hiệp hội, và trực tiếp là các văn phòng luật sư cũng đang tham gia thảo luận và có những case study rất là rõ ràng để thúc đẩy cho tất cứ bạn trẻ nào khởi nghiệp muốn áp dụng ngay về luật Hồng Kông. Chúng ta phải lưu ý là bộ luật này chạy đầy đủ cũng phải tới đến năm 2024 và chúng ta chuẩn bị toàn bộ cái nội dung cũng phải chuẩn bị rất kỹ càng ngay từ bây giờ. Khung pháp lý của Mỹ thì có một cái điểm đặc biệt quan trọng mà chúng ta vẫn hay nói đùa theo kiểu Việt Nam là phép vua thua lệ làng. Thì tại Mỹ thì luật tiểu bang là luôn luôn được ưu tiên và nó phải thỏa mãn trước. Do vậy đến luật liên bang thì thường là lỏng. Nhưng mà tuy nhiên ở Mỹ thì có 2 cơ quan điều chỉnh là SEC và CFTC, thì họ tập trung vào, hiện nay Bitcoin được coi là hàng hóa phái sinh duy nhất trong crypto, vẫn chưa được coi là hàng hóa, và hiện nay cái tranh luận rất là nhiều trên thị trường thì mọi người muốn chưa được coi là chứng khoán. Hiện nay cái tranh luận rất là nhiều thì mới đang dịch chuyển sang ETF, nghĩa là muốn làm một chút về chứng khoán phái sinh. Nhưng mà chứng khoán phái sinh hiện nay thì nếu mà Bitcoin mà thành công thì nó sẽ kéo theo một cái tài sản về chứng khoán đối với crypto rất là có ý nghĩa. Và chúng ta để ý cái chuyện mà up down thị trường mấy ngày hôm nay là liên quan đến rất nhiều đến Bitcoin ETF. Khung pháp lý của Hàn Quốc thì Hàn Quốc chúng ta cũng thấy là họ ban hành rất là vội vã trong tháng 7. Cơ bản nhìn qua Hàn Quốc thì nó hơi giống MiCA, nó không được rõ ràng và nó cũng có một chút gì đấy hơi giống MiCA chứ nó chưa được rõ ràng như là của bên Hồng Kông. Và khung pháp lý này cũng thể hiện trong năm 2024. Thế thì vấn đề của nó là gì? Là cả ba cái hệ thống luật này tôi nghĩ là các bạn mà muốn tham khảo về khung pháp lý cũng như là chúng tôi có gửi đến các cái vấn đề của bên các cơ quan quốc hội thì chúng tôi đều trao đổi thường xuyên rất là kỹ về ba khung pháp lý này. Tất cả khung pháp lý này đều có giá trị hiệu lực cơ bản nhất vào khoảng giữa năm 2024 và nếu chúng ta muốn khởi nghiệp hoặc là chúng ta muốn chú ý thì chúng ta sẽ chú ý đến hầu hết là ba khung pháp lý này. Tại Việt Nam thì sao? Đây là một cái rất là buồn. Tại Việt Nam chúng ta chỉ có 2 vụ từ năm 2017 đến năm 2023 chỉ xét xử được một vụ dân sự, một cơ quan truy thu thuế ở Bến Tre sau khi ra quyết định thu thuế trên tài sản ảo thì đã bị tòa án Bến Tre hủy vì Bitcoin không phải là tài sản. Nhưng mà tuy nhiên vụ mới nhất là có một cái vụ cướp bên tài sản thì đối tượng là bị tù chung thân và với cái mức án khá cao và được đánh giá là cướp giá trị Bitcoin 37 tỷ. Thì đây là một cái vụ án mà về phía bên Hiệp hội Blockchain có được cử 5 luật sư tới tòa và lắng nghe. Thì chúng tôi đang bắt đầu tiến hành tổ chức những cái hội thảo nội bộ với các cơ quan ở bên cơ quan tố tụng về cái cách là nếu như là chúng ta gặp lại những cái vụ án này thì như thế nào. Ở đây chỉ phải chia sẻ rất là thật với cộng đồng. Cái này là chia sẻ ngoài lề. Chúng tôi có thành lập một cái cổng thông tin lừa đảo để mà lắng nghe các dự án hầu hết chỉ là để xử lý những vấn đề mà của cộng đồng. Mà tuy nhiên là hầu hết thì các bạn xử lý khá tốt. Trừ có 2 đối tượng mà nghĩa là xử tốt cái là gì là khi gặp những vấn đề của cộng đồng họ tranh chấp, chúng ta không cần biết đúng hay sai nhưng mà cả nhà phát hành phải lưu ý đến vấn đề tính chất để xử lý cho nó khéo léo ở những vụ tranh chấp này. Nhưng mà hiện nay chỉ có hầu hết có 2 đối tượng. Một đối tượng là hầu như là chúng ta gọi là họ tác động vào tầng lớp dân cư rất là thấp, họ lấy một cái số lượng tiền rất là lớn, chúng ta gọi là scam. Và loại thứ hai là loại có học. Họ đặt dưới những hình thức công ty nước ngoài và họ tạo ra những cái sản phẩm rất là nguy hiểm, điển hình như là Coin98 Foundation. Coin98 Foundation là một tổ chức mà trước đây tham gia vào nhưng mà chúng tôi đánh giá đây là một tổ chức đang hoạt động không có license ở Việt Nam và thách thức pháp luật Việt Nam. Hiện nay đây là một tổ chức mà họ tiến hành hoạt động rất là tinh vi. Tôi không muốn nêu tên tất cả những cá nhân nhưng mà tuy nhiên trong những thông tin mới nhất thì Hiệp hội Blockchain đã làm việc với MAS và bên MAS họ đã xác nhận là đây là một tổ chức hoạt động phát hành không có token ở Việt Nam. Nhưng mà rất còn nhiều những đơn vị như vậy và họ vẫn tổ chức những hội thảo. Ví dụ ngày hôm nay anh Thuật, Jen có thể tổ chức ở đây nhưng họ tổ chức ở Đà Nẵng về ứng dụng. Thì tôi nói là nếu như cộng đồng chúng ta không dám chung tay mà nói thẳng ra đây là những vấn đề lớn thì chính chúng ta sẽ là những người có lỗi với cộng đồng. Cái này thì Hiệp hội Blockchain phải nói thật là rất là mong đợi cái sự ủng hộ của mọi người. Không phải mong đợi chúng ta đánh một cá nhân, một tổ chức nào mà chúng ta cần phải thanh lọc cộng đồng. Có như vậy thì các bạn bè quốc tế mới có thể đến được, mới có thể làm sao mà giảm được cái tính vấn đề scam của Việt Nam mà chúng ta đã gặp phải. Những cái thách thức này nó sẽ đem lại cả cơ hội và khung pháp lý. Tôi tin là với cái bước đi đầu tiên của luật về chống rửa tiền của Việt Nam đang thường xuyên tổ chức hội thảo thì cái khung pháp lý đầu tiên sẽ hướng vào chống rửa tiền trên lĩnh vực tài sản số. Đây là lĩnh vực mà phía bên Hiệp hội Blockchain sẽ cùng Chainalysis sẽ tổ chức vào trong năm nay. Kết luận, kiến nghị. Ở đây, cái này là nó mang tính là chúng tôi đã gửi một cái thông điệp rất là rõ đến các cơ quan quản lý về cái chuyện là chúng ta đừng bao giờ trông chờ vào luật, bởi vì đấy là toàn bộ các quốc gia nó cũng gặp. Chúng ta hãy bắt đầu tham gia vào định hình tài sản số, tài sản mã hóa bắt đầu từ những bộ luật dân sự. Chúng ta đừng tranh chấp, nghĩ rằng là tranh chấp nhà đất còn khó giải quyết, nghĩa là tranh chấp dân sự không thể giải quyết được. Cái đấy chúng ta hãy phải bắt đầu bằng những vụ kiện. Thứ hai là cộng đồng chúng ta sẽ phải tiếp tục lên án. Lên án chúng ta phải chú ý rằng chúng ta đừng nhằm vào cá nhân mà chúng ta hãy nhằm vào những cái tổ chức mà hoạt động cũng như là những cá nhân mà để cắt họ ra khỏi cộng đồng, cắt họ khỏi những cái nguồn vốn mà chính hoặc là cộng đồng chúng ta tham gia FOMO hoặc là cơ quan quản lý họ không đầy đủ thông tin. Và cũng hy vọng là Hồ Chí Minh là một trong đơn vị mà vừa rồi đã có được cái thí điểm của Quốc hội về tổ chức sandbox. Thì tôi cũng rất hy vọng là chính quyền, các cơ quan quản lý tại Hồ Chí Minh trong thời gian sắp tới sẽ là một trong những nơi mà thu hút các đầu tư. Và cũng biết đâu là trong cái khán phòng này ngày hôm nay, nếu mà có các bạn trẻ nào mà có những dự án mà muốn tham gia vào để thúc đẩy cái này tại khu vực Hồ Chí Minh cũng như là các cái cơ quan quản lý thì có thể liên lạc với Hiệp hội Blockchain. Vâng. Rất là cảm ơn tất cả hội nghị và chúc hội nghị chúng ta thành công. Vâng, xin cảm ơn.
Vâng, xin cảm ơn phần chia sẻ của anh Phan Đức Trung. Mời anh nán lại sân khấu để nhận hoa từ ban tổ chức ạ. Thank you so much for your sharing. Ngay sau đây xin mời Mr. Lại Hồng Phong, Head of Business Development of Coin98 sẽ lên sân khấu để trao hoa cho Mr. Phan Đức Trung. Xin trân trọng kính mời anh ạ. Vâng, thưa quý vị, với sự phát triển vũ bão của công nghệ thông tin tại Việt Nam trong những năm gần đây đã và đang bám sát tốc độ phát triển chung của thế giới, giúp gia tăng nhiều giá trị hơn cho người dùng cuối. Và sau đây, xin mời quý vị đến với phần chia sẻ của diễn giả NHÓM, Co-founder and CEO of Kairos Ventures về chủ đề Việt Nam Blockchain Landscape. Trong phần chia sẻ này, hãy cùng lắng nghe những áp dụng blockchain và Web3 trong cộng đồng nhà phát triển công nghệ thông tin hàng đầu tại Việt Nam. Please welcome back to the stage, Mr. NHÓM.
Chào mọi người. Lại là mình đây. Sáng mình có 3 speech lận. Cái này cái thứ hai thôi. Về cái phần của anh Trung thì nói chung là về pháp lý thì nó sẽ cái đó là cái ưu tiên hàng đầu, bởi vì là mình có nhớ một cái case gần đây là mọi người biết là FTX đúng không ạ? FTX năm ngoái là sập thì rất là nhiều nước bị ảnh hưởng. Thì mình có đọc một cái bài thông cáo gì đó, đại khái là sẽ refund cho một vài quốc gia, trong đó có Panama là cái office cũ của FTX, có Nhật Bản có một cái công ty của FTX sở hữu, đó là LUheid Exchange, và cái cuối cùng là Turkey là Thổ Nhĩ Kỳ, và không có Việt Nam. Có nghĩa là sao ạ? Nếu như mà FTX giờ refund tiền cho mọi người á, thì Việt Nam là được refund cuối cùng, tại vì mình không được bảo vệ. Cho nên là về phần legal thì nhiều khi nó sẽ hơi khô một tí, nhưng mà mọi người sẽ nghĩ là cái này ràng buộc quá, nhưng không phải, cái đó là để bảo vệ cho mình. Thì đó là lý do mà GM Việt Nam muốn đưa cái bài speech của anh Trung lên đầu tiên. Về cái bài speech của mình á, thì nó về cái hệ sinh thái Việt Nam. Cái này thì mình muốn speak cho các bạn nước ngoài nghe, tại vì chắc là mọi người ở Việt Nam mình cũng quá hiểu là Việt Nam mình active và mạnh cỡ nào, đúng không ạ? Và mình hy vọng là xuyên suốt cái GM Việt Nam này, tất cả mọi người, mỗi anh em, mình rất là mong tất cả mọi người sẽ gọi là trở một ambassador cho cái thị trường crypto Việt Nam. Tức là các bạn có thể nói chuyện với các bạn nước ngoài để mọi người cảm thấy rằng là Việt Nam là một thị trường rất là mạnh thông qua từng mỗi chúng ta ở đây. Thì bài speech này mình sẽ nói tiếng Anh. Nếu bạn anh em nào cần thì sẽ có cái tai phone phía trước mình, mọi người có thể đeo vô và có translation live luôn nhé. Okay, I'll start my presentation here about Vietnam. Okay. So usually I talk about Vietnam. Basically my career for the last 6 years, I keep selling Vietnam. That's my job. And in the today presentation, I will also sell Vietnam as well. I love it. I just love it. I think a few people here already hearing me selling Vietnam a lot. But today, I will sell about Vietnam in a different way. I will not only sell about Vietnam blockchain ecosystem, I will sell Vietnam as a country, as a nation, how strong we are. So the key word around Vietnam today, resilient. Resilient trong tiếng Việt là kiên cường, là bất khuất, là consistent, là khăng khăng, là làm đi làm lại, là làm đến khi nào làm được thì thôi. Và cái từ resilient này nó gắn bó với cái lịch sử của Việt Nam suốt 4.000 năm rồi. Why is Vietnam resilient? So, the first thing, I think many people still think Vietnam have war, right? I think like a few people, they ask their Vietnamese friend like, is there still war in your country? Because that's what people know about us. That's basically what people, like international media, they talk about Vietnam, only about war. So that's why, like, it's understandable that they say that. But Vietnamese as a country, Vietnam as a country, we survived for 4,000 years. We survived through all the war. We used to be invaded by the Northern Empire for 1,000 years, and we did not lose ourselves. We did not lose our language. We did not lose our culture. We did not lose who we are. And we tried so many times to warn them, and we did. And Vietnam, with the resilient principle, we also won over the Mongol Empire 3 times. Mongol Empire was like a nightmare for a lot of countries back then, but Vietnam won 3 times. 3 times. And then in the last 2 centuries, nobody would think that Vietnam would win over French and America, right? Because we're so weak. Like, we are just a small country, very small, army resource. But with the only thing we bring to the battle is all about the spirit. And we are resilient. We are consistent with our strategy. That's why we won over them. So resilient is just a thing for Vietnam for 4,000 years already. Let's take a look about the economy. So what about after the war? After the war, we get in the independence completely from 1975, and we spent another 15 years to figure out who we are and what should we do, right? We had the đổi mới, we had the economy reform in 1986, and then we also struggle from, we also suffer from the trade embargo as well. We had to suffer a lot. We had so much difficulty. 15 years after the war, we were heavily destroyed by the war as well. We have to rebuild everything again. And Vietnam only really developed from 1990. And since then, 1990, the GDP is like 5 or 6 billion. Right now, we have 400 billion, 64 times growth in 30 years. And in just last decade, we grow 2 times. Yeah, so that's the past. I guess Vietnamese people are very proud about their history. There's one interesting fact that many users in Vietnam, when they come to Twitter for the first time, they don't know how to name their username. They will think about putting VN in their username. They always like that, always think about putting VN in the username. They're really proud of where they come from. And then with that, right, how can Vietnam keep being resilient and grow to become the flagship of Web3 in the future? How can we be the next big thing for Web3 for blockchain technology in the future? The first reason why I think so is that we have the human resource arbitrage. Look at this chart, right? So this is the ranking, Southeast Asia ranking human capital index. Vietnam is not the high income country. We are not even the upper middle income country. We are the lower middle income, lower than the Southeast Asia average. But look at the human capital index, this one. We rank the second, just after Singapore, even though our income is so low. Human capital index represents the expected productivity and the professional potential of the human resource. So that's why many of my friends, they ask me, what should I do to get into Vietnam market? I say, get your Vietnam team. Hire some Vietnamese people. Because that's the advantage we have. You can survive longer with the same capital if you are in Vietnam. I will show that later. That's why a lot of big boys like Intel or like Samsung or Apple, they recently launched their factory in Vietnam as well. And another reason is that we have the political stability always. And then look at the FDI trend right now, foreign direct investment in Southeast Asia. Look at Vietnam growing from nowhere. From 1970, we are the second this year in Southeast Asia. We are the second because Singapore is so high. Singapore is so high. This chart cannot accommodate them. but we are the second. Yeah, anyway, we are the top one here. A lot of investment, like not only crypto, not only blockchain, we receive investment for a lot of aspects of the economy from the international VC and players. Okay, so this is the one example I took. It's just an assumption, okay? Suppose that we have a blockchain team with one founder, 5 dev, 2 marketing, 1 BD, and 1 designer. Just a team like that to start lean, right? If we raised 5 million and we can survive Vietnam for 19 years. For 19 years. Of course, we have to grow. We have to expand the team up. Of course, in that 19 years, we cannot stay in the same side of the team. But suppose that we keep the same side of the team for all the country here. You can survive in Vietnam. If you're based in Vietnam, you survive for 19 years. If you're based in US, you survive for 3 years. And expected that we just showed before, we have the really high human capital index just behind Singapore. So that's for the human resource. I think NHÓM already shared a lot about the legal framework process, the improvement of Vietnam. I think so far, I won't read one by one because I don't have a lot of time. I look at the countdown here. So I think we still have a very open environment for innovation in Vietnam, especially since 2019 March. All the technology startup in Vietnam will be tax-free for the first 4 years, and will be 50% off for the next 9 years. And Vietnam government are very, very open, encouraging us to use blockchain and the new technology for integration in the operation and stuff. So far, even though we don't have a really clear legal framework in Vietnam, but we have the very open environment for development. That's why the number of builder, the dev community, the builder community in Vietnam is growing so fast. This is our goal to grow our tech talent. Right now, we have about 500,000, and we set the goal to reach 1.5 million in 7 years. Okay, and the final part, why Vietnam can be the next big thing of crypto. The final reason, also the biggest reason as well. I think many people know this already, right? So actually, I joined crypto for so long. I'm local, so I know how aggressive Vietnamese people are. But for international friends, they don't know that. But all these research are made by non-Vietnamese company, Chainalysis, Finder, or MetaMask. MetaMask is basically, the most popular Web3 wallet already. And they said that Vietnam is the top 3 daily active user. And then Vietnam also ranked the top 1 in terms of the crypto adoption for 2 years in a row from 2021 to 2022. And Vietnam always ranked top in the traffic of different projects here. Look at Binance and OKX, the last 3 months. Just like from March to May this year, we ranked second on Binance in terms of traffic and top 4 on OKX. We also rank top on the DeFi protocol like Sushi, Stargate, the X-Screener. The X-Screener is basically a tool for trader on DeFi. And for blockchain, we are the top 1 on Sway, top 2 on Arbitrum, and top 3 on CK Sync. I think so. You know the reason. Yeah, this is the Vietnam blockchain map built by our team. It doesn't cover all of the startup. It's just, I think it's just like representative. I think the real map is like 3 times bigger than this. But overall, this is the the main player in Vietnam. I hope you guys will take photo of this. I do this for you guys to take photo, make me viral. Inspiring story. I want to shout out to my brother, Coin98. The story here is that I used to share office with Coin98 in 2017. We share a 2-bedroom apartment. And he has 4 or 5 people. I have 4 or 5 people in the team. And I still remember those days, like it was so hard for us. We didn't know, whether we should continue or give up because we were downtrend. There was no DeFi, there was no GameFi in 2018-19. We had to stay resilient and consistent with our goal. Lucky we're still here today organizing this. So GM Vietnam is our dream. Coin98 started very small, a community. Anh Thanh started from his own apartment, running a YouTube channel first, and growing a community from there. Coin98 has always been, if they're not a product company, they're still the most influential community in Vietnam. That they did a great job in growing community, and the inspiring story here is that everything starts very small. Start from a community member, and you can be a unicorn one day. And then Axie Infinity, this once again I want to emphasize the human resource arbitrage advantage of Vietnam. Axie Infinity right now they are $1 billion empire, but the first round they raised is 1.5 million. And the reason why, like they have a very lean team. They also start in a very small apartment like us, and like being in Vietnam, like with just 1.5 million dollar, they can stay resilient in the market. They can try different hypotheses. They can test different product model until they hit product market fit in 2021, and go viral, and go big from there. So being in Vietnam, I visited Sky Mavis office the other day. I talked to THİO, one of the co-founder. He said that being in an emerging market like Vietnam, based in here, is a huge advantage for many startup builders. Hope that down here, many of you are startup builders, so you know you are in the best condition right now in Vietnam. And yeah, the last slide, I just want to talk that for projects that want to come to Vietnam market, I just want you guys to be resilient as well. Nothing happened overnight. None of the brand can gain the exposure, the big exposure in Vietnam after a few weeks of doing a marketing campaign. Invest in Vietnam, invest in the human resource in Vietnam. I still remember of Binance. Back 5 or 6 years ago, we were the team that do the localization for Binance in Vietnam. And we know how careful they are in localization. They did like one text, they did proofread like 5 times. And they are really careful. They're in the downtrend of the market. They invest in the people in Vietnam. Right now, I think Binance is the first team, the first exchange had a Vietnamese team. Because before that, Vietnam had Bittrex and Poloniex. They did not have a team in Vietnam. And Binance was the first team, first exchange that had the Vietnamese team, Vietnamese growth and CS team, very close to the user. And then I think talk to Trung for project coming to Vietnam. Talk to Trung for about the legal thing as well. I hope that you guys will be really resilient with growing in Vietnam. I'm happy to talk to you guys, see you around, and I'm happy to share more about Vietnam. I only have 20 minutes here, so hope that all the slides here, all the information here are useful for you guys. Thank you a lot.
Vâng, xin cảm ơn phần trình bày của Mr. Zen Nguyễn. Và ngay sau đây xin mời Miss Sam Hoàng, Chief Growth Officer of Kairos Ventures.
Time in the market beats timing the market. Unless you're a time traveler, this is the way to go in the world of blockchain. However, you can gain an edge by learning from others with years of experience.
That's why we are inviting you to join us on this journey.
Blockchain isn't just a buzzword, it's a revolution that's unfolding in front of our eyes. And trust us, we've had front row seats.
So we thought, why not create a space where we all can learn, exchange ideas, and maybe even bust some blockchain myths together.
That's why we're here saying GM Vietnam to host the biggest blockchain event to ever hit Vietnam.
Think of it not just as an exhibition, but as a gathering of friends, old and new, navigating the exciting world of blockchain.
Join us in Vietnam, a sanctuary of food and culture and home to the next tech boom.
So, pull up the chair
Bring your ideas.
and let's create something extraordinary together.
Join us at GM Vietnam and let's write the future together, one block at a time.
Ý tưởng hay một giải pháp tốt cần rất nhiều yếu tố như điều kiện thị trường, vốn hóa và tâm lý người dùng. Vậy thì ngay bây giờ đây, chúng ta hãy cùng nhau lắng nghe những chia sẻ về rào cản khi xây dựng các dự án blockchain đến từ phần chia sẻ của các diễn giả, chuyên gia của sự kiện GM Việt Nam. Please welcome to the stage our moderator, Mr. Jivan, Head of Marketing, TZ APAC, to lead our panel discussion, looking back on the industry. Why innovation only is not enough. Và xin mời lên sân khấu các diễn giả của chúng ta ngày hôm nay. Mr. Mavis, CEO at Bit Ninja, former CTO at Coin Market Cap. Mr. Frederick Fung, Head of Adoption at TZ APAC. Mr. Patrick Song, Managing Partner of Sigma Capital. Vâng, xin trân trọng kính mời các diễn giả và chủ tọa. Chúng ta cùng bắt đầu để có thể chia sẻ những phần trình bày hấp dẫn cho các khán giả trong khán phòng ngày hôm nay. Xin cảm ơn.
Testing. Hi everyone. It's very nice to be here. To the organizers, THİO Ventures, thank you very much for having us. Today's discussion is a very important one. Nobody questions the role innovation plays in a project taking off and a project becoming successful. A McKinsey study revealed that highly innovative startups are more likely to experience rapid revenue growth. They stand to achieve 85% higher sales growth compared to counterparts who focus lesser on innovation. But we all know that the blockchain space is very unique. We know that it can be very unpredictable at times. You deal a lot with market conditions, capital, user psychology. It's a very tough industry for founders to make broad-based economic progress on its own. So the good news is that we have three very experienced industry experts with us here who can give us some practical industry-driven insights from a combined 25 years of experience. Thank you very much for joining us today here, gentlemen. So let's kick things off with some opinions from Patrick. I have two parts to this question I'm about to ask you. First and foremost, in the context of blockchain projects, what are the specific challenges that arise when innovative ideas are not enough to overcome barriers to success? And how can these challenges be effectively addressed?
All right, thank you for the question, Jivan. Yeah. Hey everybody, this is Patrick. I'm the managing partner of Capital Sigma, and I'm also the head of DeFi for Francium Protocol. So for those who are in the Solana ecosystem, you might have heard of Francium before. And I'm also the co-founder of CoinSeeker. So we are a Web3 deal room for VCs that are worldwide. And back to your question, Jivan, I think that's a very broad question, but I'll try to break it down. I think there are a few challenges that you have mentioned already. For example, user psychology and market conditions, and of course so we will talk about the market conditions. So in crypto, of course the market is speculative in nature and everything is quite volatile, but this also kind of affect how projects thrive or even survive. So everyone has to get used to the life cycle that the market brings to you. And I think for startups, for blockchain startups that we invest in, we want to see how they react to these challenges. And in a sense, because the user psychology is also tied to the market condition, because the users that you're serving, there are people that are native. Like what Zain has shared, everyone is hustling and they know what is the market's condition. So it's very unfortunate that sometimes you might have a brilliant innovation, you might have a brilliant idea, but if you launch it at the wrong time, it might not take off. But you always have to remain reactive. So maybe case in point, if we think about Francium. So Francium essentially is a DeFi protocol, and we try to be reactive when we design our DeFi products. We try to be reactive to the market. And I think one of the products that actually took off and had a lot of adoption was actually our delta neutral vaults. So back then it was the bear market, and of course everyone was shunning away from DeFi protocols. But everyone was still looking for yield in the space. They want to make, returns on their assets that are holding. So we kind of released a delta neutral vault to meet the needs of these people. So I think what I'm trying to say here is if you are a startup, you have to be very reactive to the volatile market that you're serving. And you have to keep that in mind when you're designing your product. And the third challenge that Jivan mentioned just now is also about capital. I think we have to be very careful because when we're raising the bull market, valuations tend to be a little bit more inflated. Us as VCs, we have higher appetite, our risk appetite is higher, so we tend to invest in companies that maybe the valuation is a little bit higher. But take a look at the industry right now. A lot of these projects, they are facing, of course, a challenged runway, but they have some issues raising further rounds because they are kind of handcuffed by the valuation that they were raising at previously. So you have to be very flexible with your investment strategy. You got to make sure that when you're raising, you have to be prudent in your spending, and you have to be far-sighted enough to know that your valuation could be an issue if you're raising at a higher valuation at the start. So as a company founder, as a startup founder, you have to be more far-sighted and you have to take all these challenges into account.
Yeah, it's really great to hear those insights first and foremost from an investor and also a startup founder. Now let's stick a little bit more with the startup space. Fred, you've now run two cohorts of the TZ APAC Tezos incubator where more than 30 startups have been incubated. So, blockchain projects take a lot of pride because they aim to disrupt existing industries, existing sectors. So being on the ground and rubbing shoulders with all the founders of the startups that you seek to empower every single day, have you seen good examples of startups who successfully navigate the resistance and skepticism that may arise from established players when introducing disruptive innovations? And can you share any strategies or approaches that have proven effective in, gaining more acceptance in terms of adoption?
Thanks, Jivan. So, running 2 incubator programs already, and with so many startups, right? One of the things is that we realized we needed to push, like answering the question beyond innovation, is workshops, educations, partnerships, right? We rely heavily on those, especially as an L1. We really need the industry to come together, the ecosystem to come together and to collaborate with one another to ensure that we are able to push a lot of things forward, right? And just now, we talk about funding. Yes, funding is important as well. But at the same time is that product market fit. One of the things that we've always looked at is how the projects that are building on top of us, how are they able to find that their own product market fit and ensure that they are able to launch into a space which could be overcrowded already, right? Take an example, one of the startups, AAA. They used to be from the Livescape team. They did events, they did a lot of concerts, and then after that now they want to venture into blockchain ticketing. The thing is that blockchain ticketing is already an extremely very controlled space by the incumbent players, right? So how did they disrupt it? So it's working together and finding a new space for that. So these are the most important things that we find on the ground that we need to actually try and help them with. And beyond innovation, again, is that, after they found all the funding, I think one of the next things that we're really, really going to look at is eventually how are all of these projects that raised in such, very nice valuations, how are they going to eventually exit, right? Because the people who invested in them are eventually wanting to take profit, right? So these are the key things that we're always going to look at. These are the key things that we are always going to focus on, is that not only are we focusing on the startup from the initial phase, how do you find capital, but essentially building them, product market fit, path to profitability. I think path to profitability is also very important. So it's something that maybe sometimes we overlook. And it's not just in the Web3 space, in the Web2 space as well. And the last one is exit strategy. How are all the VCs that are over here are going to exit and take all their money? And the people who invested in those VCs, how are they going to get their money as well?
Yeah, great stuff. So it's great to have Maurice here as well, because you've been a builder in the space for many years, as well as having the experience in both blockchain tech and traditional tech, especially early on in your career. So the advice you share here will be very useful for the folks in the audience here who are from a more traditional tech background, who are looking to enter blockchain and Web3. So can you please share what are the key differences in building a blockchain project compared to traditional technology projects, and what are the unique challenges or opportunities that can come up in the blockchain industry?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, so my name is Mavis Ledford. I run a Web3 advisory in Singapore, previous CTO CoinMarketCap. I've been in the tech industry for about 20 years and moving toward Web3. And this is a great question because there's so much space left to innovate in the blockchain world. Most blockchain apps are like 90% Web 2, 10% Web 3. What the difference is the source of truth being on the blockchain. And there's so many aspects of that just change the game. And so what I believe with the startups I work with is like, you really have luck is where opportunity meets preparation, right? And in a bear winter like we have right now, like this is perfect time to build when people aren't focused on price. Like I'll talk about one advisory I work with, Dex Tools. I met these guys a couple of years ago. There was 4 guys in Spain during COVID with a whiteboard and an idea. Uniswap had just come out and there was no candlestick data there. And so they said, we want to provide all that information. And eventually they moved on to all EVM chains and other chains like that. But they essentially just built nonstop. And when I met them, they had one server. I helped them move to microservices, scale on Amazon Cloud, and eventually they reached 20 million monthly active users, got a partnership with CoinMarketCap, listed on Coinbase, and really, you just never stop building. So everything applies in the kind of the Web 2 startup space still applies in Web 3, only the source of truth is different, and there's way more places to innovate.
Got it. And could you also share some key factors that can contribute to broad-based economic progress in the blockchain industry, specific to Web3 startups?
So what's really awesome is another project I work a lot with is Avagachi, and in the last 2 years we built this metaverse, and we had this issue where the game couldn't grow anymore because there was a limit of 25,000 Avagachis. And early in the day, you could get these for $1, and obviously the value had increased. So it was getting unaffordable to play the game. And then they created this NFT rental system. Before there was the EIP spec. And you'll find, if you want to learn what's coming next in the Web3 space, look at what Avagachi is doing. But when they enabled this feature, it was amazing because they created an open market where people can actually people can actually rent Avagachis for any price, for any amount of time, and split with the end user anything. For example, one Ghost, which is their native token, for 8 hours you can play the game, and then you'll split the revenue, say 60-40%. And what was amazing is when we initially launched this, it was massively successful. And you had people all over, especially around Southeast Asia, playing the game. And we had a couple of bugs when we initially launched that was slightly a couple % off in the amount of value we airdropped to people. And it was amazing that we had support requests of people who just learned the blockchain. They said they showed on chain on Polyscan, this is me renting the Avagachi, this is me collecting my items, and this is the amount I received and how much it was off. And I thought that was we made the correction right away, but I thought it was so beautiful that because the source of truth is there, normal people can actually prove you wrong. And we made the correction, but try doing that with like a traditional bank or something where they own the ledger, right? And this is just in the gaming world. When it moves across all industries, that's going to be really cool.
Nice. So, Fred, I'm going to ask you a question that's very close to your heart. As chairman of Access, which is an industry body, and also in your day job at TZ APAC enabling startups, can you share a little bit more about how can industry stakeholders work together to create an environment conducive to such progress? Does it take a village to raise a child?
So essentially is that the industry association Access in Singapore, we've started in the very early days because of Mt. Gox. So for the people who here long enough to remember the very first cryptocurrency exchange hack, I'm a Goxer as well. I think a lot of people are. We came together to literally beg MAS, right? Say, please don't shut blockchain down. Please don't shut cryptocurrency down in Singapore. And that conversation has went all the way so far. We were the ones who facilitated. It was basically we created a code of practice together with. So it was facilitated by MES and in consultation with ABS, the Associations of Banks in Singapore, and that work has been brought up to G20. Where we've organized V20, Virtual Asset 20 as well, where we gather the regulators and the policymakers and the private industry, both sides of the table come together and we discuss everything, right? Startups will not be excluded from this space because at the end of the day, they would also need to reach a point where, if the regulation catches up, then they would have to comply. And this is just the path to legitimacy. In the very early day, we wanted a path of legitimacy for exchanges, and then eventually we want a path of legitimacy for the rest of the projects, NFT, DeFi, you name it. Eventually it will get there. Now we're still in a very early stage. Everyone here is still early, and there's still ways to make money, that's true. But eventually, if we want to institutionalize, right? Like even MetaMask now has MetaMask institutional wallets. So it needs to have that forum. And we want to, facilitate more of that forum as well.
Thanks, Fred. So, Patrick, you've been at the heart of the industry for a while now. A lot has happened in the past couple of years. I want to ask you, what are the key lessons learned from the industry's journey so far that can guide future blockchain projects? And also, how can we all learn from past experiences to ensure that innovation, is not only pursued, but also implemented in a very sustainable manner?
Yeah, Jivan, that's a very good question. So to me, I think that innovation, at least the economic aspect of innovation, is actually in the adoption, not just creation. So as a VC, I have definitely come across a lot of deal flows. A lot of deal flows, they are very, very innovative, but adoption tend to be a little bit more challenging for these people. So it's very important for startups to find the right distribution partners, people that can actually spread your innovation to the right people. So, for example, right now, I think Mental Network by Bybit, they're doing a really good job creating this index that kind of give wallets a identity. So they're working with Click Social, one of the identity oracle, to give all your wallets some form of identity. So if you're a gamer, they will crawl some form of off-chain data from maybe your Steam profile, and then they can give your wallet that tag that, okay, this is a gamer wallet. And then all the GameFi projects can do targeted marketing and get the right people to use their protocol. Likewise, it's also something achievable on DeFi, because DeFi is much more easier because everything is on-chain. You have on-chain analytics, you see the transfer of assets, you see the interactions with the other DeFi protocols. So these identity oracles can give wallets the characteristics for startups like yourself to find the right users. And I think that's one very important way to kind of scale what you're building and serve the people that you're building your protocol for. Yeah.
Very nice. Fred, I'm going to give you a challenge to answer the next question in a minute, because we are just doing a quick time check at the moment. Now let's also move to a topic about regulation and compliance. These are factors that are mentioned as important considerations for blockchain projects. Are there any emerging regulatory trends that you see happening that are encouraging for the space?
Essentially, the philosophy and the spirit behind most of the policies and regulation that we've talked with, not only with Singapore, but with many other governments as well, is that we push the agenda. Regulation should never front run innovation, right? So essentially is that we innovate first, we find a product market fit, and then after that, once it grows, we figure out how do we make this regulatable, and then after that, institutionalize it and ensure that the adoption levels can be essentially good.
And Maurice, so we've all established that innovation is crucial. Can you share a little bit more about how we can strike a balance between pursuing groundbreaking ideas and incorporating proven, stable solutions in building blockchain projects? Because everybody wants to be the next unicorn, everybody wants to be the next big thing. But how can we do it in a more sustainable manner?
I would say the two things is like try to solve real problems. I think, again, like in the crypto winters, it's the greatest time to build because people are focused less on price. And honestly, when people spend so much time looking on price, then you want to do more marketing, more PR releases and stuff, and you can easily get lost in the sauce. And when you kind of stick to your foundations in the spirit of what you're trying to build, it's a great, it's a great way to move on. There's something called the Lindy effect, where the longer an idea or a technology exists, the longer it probably will exist. So you have to weather the storm. And when you come up with like a startup idea, there's three things that you need to consider. It's the idea, it's the team, and the timing. And if any one of those are off, then the idea will most likely fail. So it's to find a balance and find a legitimate idea, not just a money-making idea.
Got it. Patrick, your views, please.
Yeah, I'm actually with Frederick on this topic as well. I think the beauty of regulation is it's currently reactive. So all the black swan events that happened last year that actually kind of make cryptocurrency or blockchain as an industry much more mature. I would always like to call these events like canon events because they need to happen for us to be much more mature, for the regulations to catch up, and then for subsequent innovations that come about to be much more properly structured. And this way, all the key stakeholders will be protected. So people like your users, people like your investors, people, even the core contributors themselves, they have to be protected in some way. And I think when regulation comes in, we can expect much more better management in terms of the business. So, talking about treasury management is pretty important. I think right now, transparency is kind of lacking. So a lot of like startups, like for example, HQXYZ, they are pushing for transparency in financial accounting. And then we also talk about like control management. I think we have seen a lot of issues where there's a lot of infighting among very popular protocols. For example, like Paraspace, the NFT staking platform. I think just a few months ago, there was some infighting between the developers and the board of directors. I'm not too sure, but essentially this kind of infighting can be better managed if there's better control management. So we need to take our lessons from the traditional companies where there's proper segregation of duties and responsibilities between the people within the organization. And I think this ties in very well with regulation because regulation will keep these people in check. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to end this session, I want to end this session in a very actionable manner. Things that people can take out of this hall and start applying. I would like you guys to share with me one piece of actionable insights. We got to condense it to 10 seconds each. But one actionable insights that builders in this room can take back with regards to innovation and anything Web3 related. Maurice, you first.
I think the best thing is just keep building. Like, no matter what happens, just keep building. Crypto winter, bull market, just build.
Fred.
You can have fantastic technology, but it is completely, utterly useless unless you listen to your users all the time.
Patrick.
Cool. I'd like to echo Maurice on this. If you have an idea, build on it. Start working on it. Don't put it aside because no one has a perfect product from the get-go. Just build what you have. Speak to people within the space. Bounce ideas and make sure you speak to people that can value it. Yeah, don't be afraid to share ideas with people and get your feedback. Yeah.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to an end of our panel. We hope that you found it insightful. And thank you very much once again to Maurice, Fred, and Patrick for sharing such actionable insights over the last 25 minutes. Thank you for having us once again.
Thanks, Sivan.
Thank you so much for your insightful sharings. So please stay here for a group photo. Smile. Thank you very much. Quý vị thân mến, cùng với sức hút của blockchain, thị trường tài sản kỹ thuật số tiếp tục phát triển, thu hút sự quan tâm đáng kể và điều này cũng làm dấy lên mối lo ngại liên quan đến các hoạt động lừa đảo tiềm ẩn trong thị trường tài sản kỹ thuật số. Vậy, làm thế nào để chúng ta có thể phòng tránh cũng như giảm thiểu được tối đa những vấn đề trên? Xin mời quý vị cùng lắng nghe phần chia sẻ tiếp theo về chủ đề Navigating Vietnam's Digital Asset Frontier, Compliance, Education and collaborative innovation in a dynamic market. We're going to connect online with our speakers, Mr. NHÓM, co-founder and CEO of Kairos Ventures, and Mr. Richard Tan, regional head of EU, MENA, APAC, Binance. Không biết là bộ phận kỹ thuật chúng ta đã kết nối được với Mr. Richard chưa ạ? Ngày hôm nay thì Mr. Richard không thể đến với buổi hội thảo của chúng ta, nên chúng ta sẽ kết nối online với hai vị diễn giả của chúng ta ạ. Okay, here you are. Can you hear us, Mr. Richard? Okay, very good. And then you get a good connection, right? Okay, so let's start.
Mọi người, mình rất là may mắn được ngồi đây với Thanh là đại diện từ phía Binance. Nói chung là cũng không có dễ để có được sự tham gia của Binance ở GM Việt Nam. Thì Binance là một cái brand chắc là ai cũng biết ở Việt Nam rồi. Mình rất là ấn tượng với cách grow của Binance ở Việt Nam. Không chỉ là một sàn giao dịch mà là một cái văn hóa, và giống như là rất là nhiều cái thứ bạn nên mang về Việt Nam, nó trở thành một cái kiểu văn hóa, và nó tạo một cái vibe rất là hay cho cộng đồng Web3 và cộng đồng blockchain của Việt Nam. Thì rất là may mắn có được nói chuyện với Richard Tan ngày hôm nay. Hey Richard, how are you?
Hey Zin, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Very, very happy to have you today. Thanks for spending the time with us.
Oh, absolute pleasure. First of all, just let me apologize to the crowd. I know it's an excited crowd. I'm supposed to be there physically, but I'm nursing a very bad cold, so I can't make the travel. So firstly, my apologies. I mean, Vietnam is such a vibrant and dynamic marketplace, especially in Web3 and digital assets. And so hopefully I can make that trip very soon.
Yeah, no worries. I hope you can make it to the next GM Vietnam. I know that Binance invested a lot in the Vietnamese market, especially your team in Vietnam. It's really amazing to work with your team in Vietnam. I think today we'd love to explore about the regulatory and then also education, and a few suggestions from your side for Vietnam maybe. Let me just start with some of the legal question first. I think that's that's the topic many of the audience here they care about. The first question for you is about as the digital asset market continue to grow, attracting significant interest, it also raised a concern related to the potential fraudulent activity. In response, the National Assembly of Vietnam enacted something called new law, anti-money laundering law, in November last year, effectively replacing the previous legislation from March of this year. This also demonstrates that Vietnam really keen on commit to addressing the AML concern. So Binance is basically the leading in the space right now. I just want to know, could you outline some of the key measures that Binance implementing to maintain the strong AML posture and comply the evolving regulatory require, just like new law in Vietnam? How are you guys adapting with that right now?
Sure, thanks for that. I think first of all, let me applaud the new law. It's extremely important, right? So the direction of travel in digital space now is you're going to get much more regulations compared to, if you look at 4 years back, there's almost no regulations of this space, right? So, but if you look at the past 12 to 24 months, new regulations are being promulgated. But having said that, only 1/3 of global regulators are regulating this space. 2/3 are still not, right? So, but we at Binance, we are firmly committed on this front to make sure that we uphold high standards, we keep the ecosystem clean, which is why we have devoted substantial resources on this front in terms of upholding high standards, anti-money laundering, proper KYC, enhanced due diligence. So it expands throughout. I think the fact that illicit money happens in crypto has been overplayed by traditional media. If you look at the amount of illicit activities happening in crypto, it's only 0.05% of what's happening in the fiat space. A very simple example, if you have $100 million, if you distribute that in fiat, you can't trace that. Whereas digital assets, blockchain is a traceable technology. So it is very difficult to do that. And we have excellent technologies to try to trace where the money goes to, etc. Even if you go through mixers and tumblers, we are able to detect all those things. Right? So we ourselves spend a substantial resources. We have the largest compliance team of all the crypto and digital asset exchanges globally, devoting a lot of attention on this. We work very substantially with law enforcement agencies throughout the world. Even though just 1/3 of global regulators regulate this space, all the global law enforcement agencies are concerned with things like fraud, illicit money activity. So we work very closely with them. And we, I think, are the only one that conduct lessons, classes for law enforcement agencies. Last year, 2022, we conducted 70 anti-crime classes globally for different law enforcement agencies, policymakers, to really educate the beauty of this technology, the traceability of this technology, to fight some of these crimes and uphold high standards.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I think with the new technology, it's right now it's still very early stage, and you have to like adopt the technology as well as like try to kind of combine with the user experience and how to actually like manage it more effectively. I'm really happy to know that, and I think like the user also really happy to see that you guys are investing a lot in the like trying to follow the compliance of different country, but then the different country right now they have different like compliant and legal framework, right? How do you guys actually adapt with each of the country? Why you guys still basically while you guys still can balance with the user experience, user security, right? So there's two sides, because like the user, they join crypto because they want decentralized, they want something freedom, and then it's like it comes to compliance. You have to combine two of that for the lawmaker and then for the user. How are you guys doing that right now?
I think I can separate that into two parts. I think firstly is the standards we uphold, which in a lot of instances are over and above global standards. And then secondly, I'll go to the regulatory questions, right? So Binance itself is a user-first platform. We are very passionate about protection of users, which is why in the first instance, we set up a $1 billion US dollar SAFU fund, which means for safe asset for users, right? And we introduced many of these measures to make sure that users' assets are protected. We have very strict trading policies internally for staff, right? So any staff that wish to trade in a token, if you buy a token, you can't sell it for 90 days. If you sell that token, you can't buy it back for 90 days. And you know that 90 days is a long period of time in crypto, because we want to make sure that our staff focus on building the best platform possible to serve our users, to meet their users' needs, right? And not spend so much time on trying to trade tokens, etc. I think that's the first part. So internally, we have a lot of standards that goes above what regulators are prescribing to really protect the users. So let me stress the first part. Second part, regulations is a challenge. It's confusing because in different jurisdictions, crypto are treated, or digital assets are treated quite differently, right? Firstly, some things that they are security, some things they are commodity, some places say that it's a digital payment token, and you have some jurisdiction that come up with totally new definition for it, virtual assets, right? Understanding the risk and characteristic of this particular asset class. So it is challenging, especially for a global platform that operates in multiple jurisdictions. So we are what we hope for is greater harmonization of global standards. If there's one single standards globally, then it's much easier to comply with. So in that regard, I will actually applaud some of the initiative by European regulators that come up with MiCA regulations that govern the 27 countries in European Union, right? That
Hình như là chúng ta có một chút trục trặc kỹ thuật ạ. Mr. Richard, we cannot hear you. Can you hear us? Hello, can you hear us?
Hey, can you
Can you
hear me? You can still hear from my side.
Richard của chúng ta không ạ?
Hey Richard, can you hear us? We can. Maybe you can leave and try again. Yep.
Vâng, thì quý anh chị ơi, coi như là chúng ta dành một vài phút break đi ạ. Đáng lẽ là sau cái buổi panel này thì chúng ta sẽ có 5 phút break, nhưng mà đang bị trục trặc kỹ thuật nên là coi như chúng ta sẽ có 5 phút break. Các anh chị có thể đi vệ sinh hoặc là vâng, mình có thể đợi một chút trong vòng vài phút để cho bộ phận kỹ thuật có thể kết nối lại với diễn giải của chúng ta. Các anh chị có thể ổn định chỗ ngồi để chúng ta có thể đợi một chút ạ. Và sau cái buổi panel này thì chúng ta sẽ có phần break sau, nên là anh chị có thể ổn định chỗ ngồi ngay bây giờ để chúng ta cũng cùng trở lại với phiên thảo luận của Richard và Mr. Zen ạ.
Hello. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Anh chị ơi, mình có thể nán lại khán phòng một chút xíu. Chúng ta đang quay lại với buổi Zoom với Mr. Richard và Mr. Zen ạ. Bộ phận kỹ thuật đang cố gắng kết nối lại ạ.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Vâng, thưa quý vị, buổi thảo luận về Navigating Vietnam's Digital Assets Frontier sẽ được quay trở lại trong vòng vài phút nữa. Mong quý anh chị chúng ta cùng kiên nhẫn chờ đợi một chút xíu để cho bộ phận kỹ thuật chúng ta có thể kết nối lại với Mr. Richard. Xin chân thành cảm ơn ạ. Bộ phận kỹ thuật cho em xin hình được không ạ? Mới nghe thấy tiếng mà chưa thấy người ạ. Bộ phận kỹ thuật ơi, cho em xin hình với ạ. Vâng, xin lỗi quý anh chị, chúng ta có một chút trục trặc kỹ thuật ở đây. Bộ phận kỹ thuật đang cố gắng kết nối lại với hình ảnh cũng như là âm thanh để chúng ta có thể tiếp tục buổi thảo luận cùng Mr. Richard và Mr. Zen. Okay, welcome back. Mr. Richard, can you hear us? Zen ơi.
Yes, sorry
Zen nghe
about
không ạ? Okay, welcome back. We've been waiting for you, so let's start again. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. So Zain, you the second question that you posed, you didn't hear any of my responses. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so just let me repeat the salient points, right? So I think on one hand, other than regulations, Binance impose higher standards than most regulators do, right? So for example, we are very passionate. We are user first in many instances. We look at user protection, which is why we first came out with the 1 billion SAFU fund, Safe Asset for Users fund, to really protect users. And we impose many standards internally, including a 90-day trading rule, right? Where when you buy one asset, you can't sell it for 90 days. And if you sell that asset, you can't buy it back for 90 days, right? And that's pretty stringent. So we have a lot of all these internal rules and standards that are way above what the global regulators impose. On the other hand, for regulators, it is confusing landscape globally, because in some parts it's considered a security, in other jurisdictions considered a commodity, and some are considered digital payment tokens. And some jurisdictions come up with new definition for it, virtual assets, understanding the unique characteristics of digital assets, right? So for global exchange that does global deployment, it is challenging. And what we hope for is to see greater harmonization of rules, so that it's easier for everyone to comply.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think you guys are doing great job on both sides. Binance, let me summarize the answer here. So Binance is still a user-first platform, and Binance always try to diverse the strategy to adapt with the legal framework in different countries. And especially interesting fact that Binance employee will not be able to sell the token if they buy the token for after 90 days. That really interesting fact I got to know today. And then I know that Vietnam Binance also have a great Vietnamese team. You guys did put a lot of effort in education and stuff. I think it's good for us in this industry, because basically we are here not to just build for ourselves. We are here to build for the whole industry. We only survive and grow if the whole industry grow. So I do see all the all the message that Binance spread out there. It's not only about try to trade on Binance, but also about get on crypto, get on blockchain, adopting blockchain. So you guys did a lot of educational activity, especially in Vietnam. I did see you guys did you did too as well. Can you explain a little bit more about your education strategy in different countries, especially South Asia and Vietnam?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are at Binance, we are passionate about education, right? In terms of making sure that users understand what they're getting into, which is why we always urge users to do your own research, right? If you remember Super Bowl 2 years back, all the major digital assets platform are advertising like crazy on TV to say get into crypto. And our message has been very simple. Don't trust celebrities. Trust yourself. Do your own research. That's the most important. Which is why we spend a lot on educational effort. We have a free-to-air portal, Binance Academy, as you know. It's very rich in content, right? You can learn everything that you wish to on blockchain technology, on digital assets, etc. So that is a very rich platform. And we work with different governments and educational institutions to really calibrate that to roll out in courses as well, where governments require us to do so, or where educational institutions do that, right? Over the course of last few years, we also do what we call masterclass. And these are in-person training. And so far, we have trained about 60,000 people to understand much better blockchain, digital assets, the power, the risks, the opportunities, right? So we will continue to be very passionate on that front. I mentioned to you that we also do training, and I believe we are the only one, that we do training for law enforcement officers around the world, as well as with government agencies and policymakers, so that they can better understand. One of the biggest gaps in this space is the lack of understanding of how this technology behaves and what are the powers and the potential of this technology. So the more we can close this gap with policymakers and regulators, the better we can build a much more vibrant ecosystem.
Yeah, I do see that the Binance ecosystem right now is not only about the exchange, but it's have so many other arms. Apart from like Binance Academy, you also have Binance Charity as well, trying to like helping out the low income and the underdeveloped countries as well, and bringing crypto and blockchain to them, to the unbanked people. What do you think about Vietnam? I mean, like, I'm not sure, like, how much did you learn about Vietnam market before, or how important Vietnam is to the Binance strategy? Because basically, I guess, maybe you already know that Vietnam has really high crypto adoption. And I guess just my personal prediction that Vietnam is like one of the top country on Binance as well. Thanks to all the, the DeFi and GameFi in 2021, that the Vietnam adoption to crypto and DeFi are really high. What do you suggest for Vietnam to, keeping this position, sustain it growth for longer?
No, indeed, that's the case. Vietnam is one of the most exciting markets in Asia Pacific, if not globally, right? You have a big talent pool, many enthusiasts in this space, in GameFi, DeFi, as you mentioned, trying to build different use cases, which are very exciting, which is why, I mean, in terms of Binance deployment, you'll see our team on the ground working very closely with different educational institutions to try to educate on crypto. We do have our Binance Labs and M&A teams, and that does global sourcing for deals, investments. We are one of the largest investors in the blockchain space, right? And we have invested in very good projects that we have sourced in Vietnam as well. And we are very active in Vietnam in terms of charity space. So we will continue on those fronts to really work with the different stakeholders. My sort of philosophy, everywhere we want to do a deployment locally, where it's an important marketplace, you need to work very closely with three different sets of stakeholders. One is government and regulators, to get them to appreciate what exactly it is, to come up with a framework to support it. The second group are your partners, your corporate partners, and those could be fiat banks, it could be partners that issue NFTs, etc. But yet there are many different partners that we have to work with and work with closely to do a local deployment well. And thirdly, are the users and community, right? It's very important that we support the users and communities and support important projects that's coming through Vietnam. And it's such a great talent pool, it's such a vibrant market. So we hope to do much more together.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We also had a Binance Vietnam team at the GM Vietnam event today. I think this is a chance for many audience and participants today to meet and talk to Binance Vietnam team representing Binance in Vietnam. That's also the last question for this discussion. Thanks a lot for spending time with us today, and take care. I hope you can recover from your sick. I hope to see you next year in Vietnam, and I really hope that the Binance Vietnam team will keep growing, and Binance brand will keep growing as a culture in Vietnam. Thank you a lot.
Absolutely. Thanks for this, and I hope I will be in Vietnam way before that, right? Much earlier than next year.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, thank you a lot. Let me tell this to the audience. So mình có cái booth Binance ở ngoài conference, ở ngoài sảnh ở lobby á, thì tất cả các bạn nếu mà muốn tương tác với Binance team thì có thể gặp team Binance, anh Việt và chị Linh ở ngoài booth nhé. Cảm ơn tất cả mọi người đã lắng nghe ạ.
Thank you Mr. Richards for your sharing. Thank you Mr. Zen. Vâng, thưa quý vị, và để chuẩn bị cho những phiên thảo luận và chủ đề tiếp theo trong buổi trưa và buổi chiều ngày hôm nay, thì mời quý vị chúng ta cùng nghỉ giải lao trong vòng 5 phút. Let's take a 5-minute break before we come back to our panel discussion. Thank you very much.
In the vast expanse of the universe, technology is advancing at lightning speed. Amidst this rapid progress, Aura Network shines as a beacon of innovation and vision. A team of engineers and visionaries set out to build a new NFT infrastructure that would change the way we think about ownership and value. Imagine a world where NFTs could represent more than just digital art or collectibles. With each step, we are bringing our vision of a new future closer to reality. Join us in the journey of transformation. Aura Network, shaping the future of NFTs and the Web3 realm.
Ngoài những đơn vị khởi xướng thực hiện, không thể không kể đến sự đồng hành của các nhà tài trợ. Đặc biệt, xin trân trọng cảm ơn nhà tài trợ kim cương Aura Network đã đồng hành cùng GM Việt Nam. We would like to express our appreciation to our diamond sponsor, Aura Network. Quý vị thân mến, Aura Network là một dự án blockchain Layer 1 top 1 tại Việt Nam hướng đến sự phát triển và mở rộng công nghệ NFT. Và ngay sau đây, xin mời quý vị đến với một chủ đề vô cùng thú vị. personalizing NFC experience with sick hype NFC marketplace. Trong phiên này, đại diện từ Aura Network và Sick Hype sẽ chia sẻ những hiểu biết sâu sắc đối với đổi mới và tầm nhìn của họ về tương lai của NFT. Khám phá cách NFT đang cách mạng hóa các ngành, trao quyền cho người sáng tạo và định hình lại quyền sở hữu kỹ thuật số. Hãy chuẩn bị để có được những kiến thức vô cùng giá trị và về những phát triển và tiến bộ tiên tiến trong lĩnh vực NFT qua phần trình bày của diễn giả Lâm Mộc Tính, co-founder và CEO của Sick Hype. Let's welcome to the stage Mr. Lâm Mộc Tính, co-founder and CEO of Sick Hype.
Hello, GM everyone. So I would love to express my appreciation to you guys to be in here and join my section with me. So basically, like you guys say, I want to give you guys a little bit hopium here because like this sentence, this phrase might be the most popular sentence in Twitter if you are like an NFT player. Like NFT is gonna die. NFT is not gonna die. There are like so many people are talking about NFTs like they're going to die because like the price are dumping, there's a lot of fuss these days. But when we take a little bit closer, we got like crypto and NFTs is going the same pace. Like the volume is going down, crypto is going down, NFT's price, floor price, dumping a lot. Like an NFT lover like me, I collect NFTs, but I lost a bunch of money. But however, when we look closer a bit, you can see the volume, the closest chart of volume over there is surprisingly increased, but it's a negative volume. But however, I feel super positive on NFT. Why is it? Because like there's so many traditional big brands, they put one step closer into NFTs. Like they're not truly like doing big thing with NFT, but they just one step, doing small thing, but make so many things, like so many revenue from the NFTs. For example, like for the case of Nike, they bought an NFT collection like artificial and received like 160 million based on just selling the NFTs. And people like projects, builder, and there's a lot of people always asking me for the advice like what is the successful recipe for an NFT project? But they never ask the story about like, they're just asking what could they do to become a successful project, but they don't ask like, why do people buy an NFTs? You can see here like speculating and making money, right? 70% of the people coming for the NFTs because like, they believe it will be the trend and it will be making them a lot of money. So 70% of them is like want to making money. And three rest is like art, I be collecting, community, utilities. It's just like all the smaller part. But however, the price is just like the price going down, showing the market is like going to bad, just solving the first reason is like speculating and making money. There's so many more reasons for us to believe in NFT, the future of NFTs. So basically for me, NFT is just an NFT, not just like NFT on Ethereum. There's also a lot of chain has a better speed, better technologies, and low gas rate. So it will be easier for like Web2 companies and other company Web2 want to jump into the NFT space. They would be like using Polygon, using like Binance Smart Chain, Flow, AMX, and also Cosmos. We could have a little bit closer. Let's look a little bit closer into the niche. That the strongest niche of NFTs right now is like collectible niche, which is closely related to the first reason is like making money. In the Web3 currently, like we got like 1.3 billion of dollar in like 2023, but currently like in Web2 2020, it is about like 360 billion, which is like 2 more digits 300 times. So we can imagine like whenever like Web2 starting to believe in like crypto NFTs, how much would they spend for NFTs? How much would they like acquiring new user? And how potential is it for the NFTs, right? So I would love to spread my belief, my positive energy, and my hopium for NFTs to all of you. Hope that you can together believe and we can make it. So why do I choose Cosmos? Because like it have the technologies, speed, and also low fee, I guess, and also like huge potential to make it happen. As an NFT marketplace, I do also like collaborate with a few Web2 company in Vietnam. They're really strong. Like we make a few NFT collection and got sold now in like 30 seconds. So to acquire new user from a Web2 is really important. So let's look little bit closer to understand how user think when making a purchasing decision. It's not much different between like Web2 and Web3. It's starting from like awareness, attraction, consideration, and value delivery. So what we're trying to do is like providing the Web2 friendly user interface so that people can easily access to our platform. For example, like Binance, big name, we got like Kairos, so many things. People are trying to do events and activities that educate the user, acquiring new user to the space. So as a marketplace, what we're trying to do is like providing the good product that whenever people coming in with their awareness, they coming in, they're feeling so easy to use the product. And then coming to the next say, it's like attraction. Like when I came to NFT, I don't even understand like what collection should I buy? Why do I have to buy that? So as an NFT marketplace, I have inspired a lot by those like e-commerce platform in traditional. Like you can see like Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Tiki, Lazada, Shopee. They are doing so good on recommendation. They was collecting a little bit like user behavior and then recommend the user the right product. So that reason why whenever I came to those e-commerce platform, I don't have to like searching for any kind of product. I just like scroll it and pick the right product for me. I also want to bring this to NFTs with the personalized and you can see like your type of NFT project. I will share about it later on. But next thing is like after choosing an NFT collection, so how would I check if it's a good NFT or not? Whenever people telling everyone like NFT is all about like the art, community, and utility, right? Utility is easy to see, but most of them couldn't deliver it. But they usually say like community is the most important thing of an NFT project. But have a look closer to like the current NFT marketplace platform. Like we got OpenSea Pro, OpenSea, we got Blur. What are they trying to do? They also like trying to like smoothen the experience on the NFT platform, but they're just showing information related to the price. So where's information about a community? How can we check if the community of an NFT project is hype or not, right? So SIGHI is much more different. We try to collect information from the project, try to verify and collect what people are talking about it, and put it in right into the platform so that people can easily like, I don't have to follow any KOL anymore. I just need to using SIGHI to find, check, and also like following up for the value delivery part when I already purchasing it. See, these are some big names that already applies like recommendation and becoming so big, so good in the Web2. When we're trying to like bring more people from Web2 to Web3, we have to learn from them. So this is the way that how can I like collect information and analyze and making like recommendation for user. Is like we following the behavior on the platform, like holding, following, searching, and also information like on-chain behavior of them, and also like collecting information from some of the whales to put. For example, for me, I like NFT with like anime art. So when I trying to buy and hold, most of my portfolio is like anime art, right? And then when I come into Skype, they will directly recommend me. Hey, I have a lot of like anime NFT projects. It's easy for me to make a decision, right? Here's like a little bit about social religion. This is how we different. How we different between like we trying to like acquire more like user, like collector user. It might be less than those who trade, but for me personally, I believe like the reason people come, also the reason people live. So if I trying to like bring more people who want to make money, whenever they couldn't make any money, they're gonna leave. That also happened the same to the GameFi and the people who green blur incentive. So we want to make a difference. We want to like acquire more user who is collecting, professional collector who is like buy NFTs for long term, have a big vision, big belief on NFTs. It might be small part of them, but they would be like easy to become a loyal customer of our platform. So through 3 months, I have just like starting Skype for 3 months. What do we got like more than 11 collection launch with like 4 in real life utility collection that I told you guys like, I'm working with like Web 2 company to make more and more user from Web 2 coming to the platform. And so now from like 30 seconds to 2 hours, 35K unique user, and also like with those number. And we are under discussing with like 3 big IP, anime manga IP from Japan too, because like I believe that they have a lot of fun, and the fan is like ready to spend and really loyal to the image, really loyal to the IPs. For me, I am also an anime lover. Yeah, and this is Skype, yeah, and me. If you guys have any concern, please feel free to contact me a little bit about me. I have been in crypto for like 5 years, in the NFT space for like nearly 2 years. I have started my very first NFT community in Vietnam for than 1 year and a half right now. Currently is the biggest NFT community in Vietnam right now. You can call it like NT NFT Club. So this is about me, my co-founder, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lâm Một Tính. Mời anh nán lại sân khấu để nhận phần quà từ chương trình. Ngay sau đây, xin mời Miss Sam Hoàng, CEO của Kairos Ventures, sẽ lên sân khấu để có thể trao hoa cho Mr. Lâm Một Tính. Please welcome to the stage.
Thank you. If you guys have any concern, please feel free to contact me for more information. Yeah.
Vâng, thưa quý vị, ngay sau đây xin mời quý vị đến với một phiên thảo luận có chủ đề vô cùng thú vị: Define thresholds and how to open the bottleneck. Với chủ đề này, hãy cùng nhau lắng nghe những chia sẻ từ các nhà lãnh đạo, ngành và thảo luận về tiềm năng cũng như thách thức của ngành công nghiệp blockchain, bao gồm khả năng mở rộng, khả năng tương tác, bảo mật và trải nghiệm người dùng. Chia sẻ những hiểu biết sâu sắc về các giải pháp đổi mới và các phương pháp hay nhất để có thể khai thác toàn bộ tiềm năng của ngành công nghệ chuỗi khối trong cuộc cách mạng hóa tài chính. Và xin mời lên sân khấu, please welcome to the stage our moderator, Miss Jasmine Trần, builder at Coin98. Xin mời lên sân khấu moderator của chúng ta, cũng như các speakers. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Justin Kim, Head of Korea, Ava Labs, Mr. Moran, Director Growth at Consensus, Mr. Bowen Sands, Co-founder Proximity Labs, Mr. Christian Ecosystem Expansion Lead of Confluence Network. Please welcome to the stage. Xin trân trọng kính mời các diễn giả và chủ tọa chúng ta có thể chia sẻ về chủ đề hấp dẫn này cho các nhà chúng ta.
Thank you. Hello everyone. Welcome to the second roundtable of today's morning. I'm Jasmine from Coin98. And I think it's always a pleasure and privilege to sit in and have a conversation with the thought leaders in the industry, and especially in Vietnam today. So thank you all for participating. Okay, so our topic today is decentralized finance. So decentralized finance has always on the top of the crypto narrative since the last DeFi summer. And I can tell that we have been through a lot since that time. So this is a good time for us, not only to talk about the futures, maybe another DeFi summer, but also to look back a bit to see how things have changed and what we have been missing on our journey to make DeFi accessible to everyone. So before we dive into our topic, let me introduce you to our special guest today. So can we start off by introducing yourself and what exactly you're building? Okay, maybe Justin first.
Pleasure to be here. My name is Justin. I'm head of Korea at Our Labs, leading all partnerships and ecosystem in Korea and maybe a greater part of Asia. Pleasure to be here.
Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Marwan. I work with Consensus. How many know what Consensus does? Can I see a show of hands? Okay. How many know MetaMask? Okay, so Consensus does MetaMask. That's the easy way. So I essentially work with projects where we support them to onboard them on our ecosystem. Obviously, MetaMask is a popular wallet that we thrive on connecting to multiple dApps and multiple chains. But also we have infrastructure tooling, such as Infura. If you're a builder today, you can use that to deploy on many chains. And as of this month as well, we are launching our ZK VM L2 called Linear. So that's also something that we are very excited about, and then I hope to see many of you deploying on it. I'm based in Singapore, so I've been in Asia for quite some time, so it's interesting for me to mix this Web3 journey with my knowledge and experience here in APAC, and I couldn't be more excited. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Bowen, and I'm one of the core members of Proximity. We created Proximity about 2 years ago, and basically Proximity Labs is the DeFi arm of NEAR. We go very hands-on and go under the ground to be more like closely work with DeFi founders to work on execute different DeFi initiatives and to build different DeFi building blocks, and yeah, and happy to be here. And also my co-founder is previously from Consensus.
Hey guys, my name is Chris. I'm super happy to be back in Vietnam, and actually when joining Conflux Network, the Layer 1 blockchain network I'm working at right now, my first panel was actually in Vietnam as well, so I'm super happy to be welcomed here again. And yeah, Conflux Network is a Layer 1 blockchain network. There's DeFi on our network, there's also NFTs, gamifies, and there's also something that was mentioned in the last keynote, which is the actual adoption of NFT, and that's also something we are pushing forward. But yeah, super happy to be here and excited to share our knowledge from the DeFi space with all the specialists here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so all right, I think we will have a very engaging conversations as you guys own the OG in the market, and you're putting a lot of effort to build great products to serve like millions of users. So first, let's go back to basic, where we will talk about the DeFi trilemma: scalability, decentralization, and security. So starting with like scalability, I will leave the question to Marwan and Bowen because you are building a lot of products like Infura and MetaMask, like the recent linear network. And also Nia, I recently see that you launched a blockchain operating system to serve like more users and make DeFi more accessible. So, but scalability is the key challenge that we can see. Like we can clearly see because of the high transaction fee and also the network congestions. So these factors just prevent user from, prevent the DeFi protocol to operate sustainably. So what innovative solutions or technologies that can address this issue and enable DeFi to grow further?
Yeah, I'll take this one first. So obviously, actually, you couldn't have said it better. Scalability is a big problem for DeFi and many other applications in Web3. I personally actually started playing with DeFi a lot on Ethereum, and I am generally a curious person that I want to try things. And I found that, okay, I discover a DeFi protocol, I deploy maybe some funds, and then I'm very conscious about the gas fees and whatnot, and that actually makes me experiment even less. And not very proud to say, but the first time I tried Optimism and Arbitrum was like 6 months ago, or 9 months ago, and then it just blew my mind that I can just deploy, undeploy, do something else, try this, try that, and it just like made actually the learning experience and the journey much more powerful because they have solved that scalability issue. So I think it's very important for, of course, the protocols themselves to gain popularity, for the users to feel more comfortable, and that's perhaps where things like, Binance is very popular as well because it allows for that easy interaction. So coming back to what is being done on this one, obviously, like, we are seeing a big rise into L2s built on Ethereum, and we at Consensus believe in the Ethereum scalability, and that's why we have invested into like a couple of years now building ZK technology into our R&D team. And then finally we felt that the timing is right this year to go and launch it into a chain, into Linea. So we've run Linea during, I think, almost 6 months of testnet, and we are just closing this week, I think the social week, right? So we did these quests every week for the last 9 weeks, and the numbers were just crazy to see people, either token farming or testing or even deploying bots, and the network can just handle it. And it kept actually handling millions and millions of transactions. So these things would not be possible without this technology. Obviously, we are excited about launching this into a mainnet. Tune in for EthCC if you're going or if you're following. That's where would be the public announcement for Linea mainnet launch, and then we hope that we will see actually a very large number of transactions and users interacting with it. There is many chains, of course, solving the problem differently. So there is other L1s, there is the optimistic rollups today. All of these are probably one of the biggest fields of research and investment when it comes to looking at this scalability solution. There is other angles, of course, later on that you have to look at in terms of perhaps how to scale the go-to-market, how to onboard users easier. So that's where some innovation around account abstraction and wallet innovation will allow you to, go like, I think I was following the, like many of you probably, the launch of Threads from Facebook, the app, the Twitter competitor. And to see an app has such actually a scalable onboarding journey that allows them, they reach 10 million users in 7 hours. So that's also equally important for an app and onboarding, and that's where wallets and MetaMask in particular play a big role and responsibility to try and give that frictionless experience, because that's also an important part for scaling an industry like DeFi.
Okay. Yeah, I think in terms of scalability, there's quite a bit of solutions already in the market, right? Like each of our panelists here are coming from different scalable solutions. So we have like a Conflux working on tree graph, right? We have like Avalanche working on subnet, and Linear working on ZK rollup, and Near is what we're working on sharding as a scaling solution. I think that this question is more about like when we have this scalable solutions, how we can find the onboard different business use cases onto that, such that it will be like a product market fit, right? And onboarding different use cases to that. And And the way we approaching that is NEAR has done NEAR has a unique sharding solution, and the core characteristics it brings to NEAR is it's very fast. It's one of the fast blockchain by transaction finalities, and it's very affordable. Each transaction less than 1 cent. So we are exploring the DeFi venues such as that requires higher frequency settlement. So like order book, one of the use cases is an orderly network that was backed by Kronos, a very sophisticated group of traders, and also Wu network. They're building the liquidity layer to help different market makers and traders to trade frequently, right, on a more scalable network. That's one of the way. And since you mentioned BOSS, like BOSS is one of the ways that we see that it's a new initiative that we've launched recently, and it's a front-end stack of applications that we see, like basically all applications in all networks, they can deploy the front-end on NEAR. And what it does is it gives the composability of front-end interactions, right? Different applications, front-ends can coexist in a single UI. And where did they come from? Like they can be an application on Avalanche, there can be an application on Confluence, they can deploy the front-end code on NEAR. And the user experience will be very, very different, right? Because since all these applications can exist in single UI, users don't need to know if they're using Uniswap or not. They just need to know they're finding the best price in the market. So that's one of the ways that we bring application use cases, bring more accessibility to those applications into the hands of users, and also to bring user experience into different level, such that we can crafting a business identity for NEAR and for the DeFi user experience in general. Yeah.
Thank you. So I think you're actually raising a really good point there. Although we have a lot of technologies in the market now, but I think our final target is to provide a seamless experience. Like if you are using Web3 products, but it feels like you are using Web2 product. So speaking of the product building, I think there's a lot of stage that we have to go, and it's a long way to develop a product to a major stage. So I think I experienced some criticism from some of the users, because we still need some kind of key players for the products to run at the beginning. So there are a lot of saying that the DeFi protocols are not really fully decentralized at the early stage. So how do you think about this, Chris?
I think the term decentralization, there is no definite term when do you say is something decentralized enough? And I think for that people have to ask themselves, how decentralized do I want it to be? There are pros and cons to decentralization and DeFi protocols. Some are completely community run, very decentralized, but the process and the innovation there might be a bit slower than to a more centralized entity that still runs decentralized. But yeah, there is no correct answer until now. And then I think recently with the many hacks that are happening, the one that just got announced today with multi-chain, it's the industry needs to get more regulated, and that's not just from an industry's perspective, but also from a regional perspective, in which jurisdiction you are. To make it more regulated for your users. And one of the recent terms that I learned when I was actually in Korea last month was now people are already talking about permission DeFi, right? And if you think about it, nowadays, DeFi should be completely decentralized, everyone can access it, right? But then permission DeFi brings another layer on top of it. There are different solutions to that. But yeah, only time will tell what's the correct path to go. And for now, we are in this industry and just experimenting around, seeing which path is the path to go, and then we'll build towards that direction.
Okay, Thank you. So it's actually that it depends on how we, look at it at the moment, right? Okay, so you mentioned the hack that, like multi-chain hack. So I want to, mention also the last pillar of the blockchain trilemma, which is security. So I think that we have a lot of hacks happening this year, and even like back in April, we also have a very tremendous hack to Year-end Finance, which led to the loss of $10 million. So is there any way that we can increase the security measures and we can increase the user fund safety without sacrificing the decentralized natures of the DeFi protocol? So I think this question is for Justin.
Well, great question. So Ava Labs is the company behind Avalanche blockchain, and we are trying to ensure chain-level security. We're not DeFi protocols, but what we can do is to ensure there's safety at chain level. And Avalanche blockchain has a different consensus called Avalanche consensus. So we actually have instant finality where payment actually equals settlement. So there's no transaction payment, DeFi payment transactions ever canceled on blockchain, on Avalanche blockchain. So I think that's one security that we offer as a blockchain layer 1 mainnet. And also Avalanche also offers scaling solutions called subnet. It's basically like an app chain or L2 on Ethereum, but we actually build our own bridges and also cross-chain messaging by ourselves. So I think there's a moral hazard happening that could actually bring risk to all the bridges that work with L2s, because you have to work with both L2 mainnet and also L1. But what we do is we actually build bridges and cross-chain messagings for all the subnets and the mainnets. So there's no risk of running your DeFi protocols, DeFi transactions across all these different network. So that's one. That's actually the chain level security that we're trying to ensure for our DeFi protocols and users.
Thank you.
If I may add on the security as well, I think one important, so all of us are of course building software that is as secure as possible, but one of the other angle that is worth investing in is education of the users themselves. I mean, most of the hacks and most of the errors is usually because of lack of knowledge or somebody who, behaved, saw an NFT airdrop and just connected. So, for example, we have with MetaMask something that we are very proud of, which is called MetaMask Learn platform. So anybody can go to MetaMask Learn, and then you can find actually content that educates about self-custody, about how to interact with Web3 and dApps and DeFi in really non-technical terms. So it should be easy for anybody to go and read through it. We obviously actually believe in the global aspect of Web3, so even this website is available in multiple languages to attract different communities. And I think that's probably mission number one, and we all play a role here to go and talk about the best practices, the best behavior, and the more the users know what they are doing on the blockchain, I think that will ultimately increase the security as well.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think it's not only on the builders or developer side. It has to be from the user side as well. So it's our responsibility to actually find a way to protect our assets before we actually investing in anything in the blockchain space, because the space is very, very open. Okay, so now looking at a bigger pictures, I think this is the questions that all the builders in Web3 or the builder of the DeFi protocols are trying to answer for a while. So because our target is the end user, so the user experience play a very vital role along the way. So these questions I want to ask four of our speakers. So what are the key challenges in improving the user experience of DeFi applications, and what innovative solutions or design principles can be implemented to make DeFi more accessible and user-friendly? Maybe we start with Chris.
Yes, thanks. That's actually a very good question. And I think when Bitcoin started, right, it was meant to be a thing for everyone in the world, to be mass adoptable. And throughout the recent years, blockchain networks arise, Ethereum arise, DeFi arise, and many use cases arise. And I think everyone who's sitting here, who has been in the industry for quite a while, for them it's easy to create a MetaMask wallet account and then just access DeFi. But like if you look at it from a grand scheme, that's just a small percentage of people that know how to use it, that want to go through the hassle of storing their private keys or the seed phrase properly. But for the most people who are just normal users, like we using our phones to connect to Google, to connect to Telegram, WeChat, whatever, we just want something that is simple and easy to use and that has some level of security for you. So I think the whole onboarding process, and there are companies here like Biconomy, Particle Network, Web3 Auth, who just make the entrance into the Web3 space more relatable to normal users. And I think that's one of the big things and challenges to push out further for people to get on board. And I think that's one thing we all have been working on towards. And based on that, to create UI and UX that is familiar to the end target, to the target consumer. So if it's like in China, they should log in with WeChat, pay with Alipay, for example. In Vietnam, maybe you have a different messaging protocol like Line or Zalo to log in through Zalo because that's what people actually use. And I think the different solutions that are very similar to what people traditionally experience with, these are the ones to onboard more people into the Web3 space.
Buổi.
Yes, some fundamental items that we've built are like fast authentications. Basically, you can use your facial IDs and email addresses to sign up for near wallets, and you don't need to see phrases. So that's one of the ways to onboard new users. And we also, at Proximity, we have spent some time to bring MetaMask support into a non-EVM chain here. So that's one of the ways that we tackle the user experience side. But generally, as an initiative, is like to give some numbers. Like you see, Uniswap has about 400 plus forks in the market, and the Compound has about like 90 plus forks, and GMX like new purposes have about 30 plus forks. Like the users, like as more layer 1s and layer 2s coming out of the market, and also it becomes very cost. The cost of forking is very low. Are those applications and new rising like layers and blockchains and applications, are they actually solving the product market fit problems? Are they truly trying to solve the user needs? And users try to find the right application to interact with is one of the problems that we see, like that hinders like user experience in DeFi spaces. Right? That's one of the ways that we see via BOSS we can potentially change this business model, like to help users to try to discover. It's like by the name blockchain operating system, right? There's different applications that can be exist in the front end components can be existing in the Near protocol and can be discoverable on Near.org. And all these applications can be rendered, retrieved, and compiled together in different formats, such that it will be customized, built, and presented to users in various ways to find the market fit. It's like a retailer and the product business model that you see, like Costco's, Walmart. These retailers, they don't produce the product themselves, but they compile different products to serve the local customer needs. That's what they do, right? That's what BOSS is trying to do with different applications and different ecosystems. Yes.
So I think user experience is very important. So that's where probably if we do a survey here, we'll find that most of us got into crypto through centralized exchanges. It's easier to just go set up a Binance account or a Coinbase account. Obviously, that came with its risks, with some stuff that happened along the way. And we, at least Consensus and MetaMask, we believe that we are on that path to create a user experience that is similar to a centralized exchange, but in a decentralized way. And so one of the recent releases we did, I think a couple of months back, is the MetaMask Portfolio app. So if you go to your MetaMask, you'll see a button, you click on it will take you to a web page essentially that has tools and capabilities that are coming along to make it look more and more like exchange features. So you can see a portfolio, you can see assets, you can see some financial products like staking, you can see bridging tools, and all of these actually have focus on making it simple for the users to do. The journey is probably still long, and then there is many more things that we need to build, but ultimately if we are building towards that vision, which is building a decentralized self-custodial tool that makes it not necessary for you to use a centralized exchange, then we probably achieved the best user experience that we can do.
Okay, we got, 30 seconds? But as an operator of a blockchain network, we believe that cross-chain messaging protocol, cross-chain transfer of assets are one area that we're trying really hard to sort of, provide seamless experience for DeFi users. And Avalanche has actually the most number of Bitcoins bridged to on our chain. So what that means that there's so much liquidity on Avalanche right now, and we're trying to create our own wallet for the mainnet. And if you use it, it's called Core Wallet. And if you use it, you can actually swap for the Bitcoins on the app itself. You don't have to go to DeFi protocols anymore. So that's one area I think that could come into play for new users to access DeFi protocols.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we got very comprehensive answer for all of the DeFi aspect. Yeah, I think we don't have really much time to explore another topic. So, but this has been enlightening and also interesting that we can get a lot of insights, and I hope you can take something from here to continue to believe in the true value of decentralized finance. So maybe we can wrap up the roundtable today by describing your DeFi journey in just one word. Okay, Justin.
It was a pleasure to be here today, and Avalanche has a lot of DeFi protocols. It's actually the core of our business, and we're trying to see more enterprise use cases and also other GameFi that is happening based on our liquidity. So that's what we're trying to do in the space, and hopefully there's a lot more partnerships that are coming from Vietnam too. Thank you.
So your word is partnership, or describe?
Yeah, we're trying to. Okay. So we're trying to see more DeFi expanding to institutions and partnerships, because if you look at stock market, it's only 10, 20%, 30% are actual retail users. So what we're trying to do is to get more institutions, more large liquidity into the market for the greater good of the industry. Yes.
Thank you, Marin.
My one word for my DeFi journey is down only.
Downloading. Okay, interesting. Bowen.
My word is build. Yeah, keep building. Yeah.
Keep building. And Chris.
I think so many great things have been said. What I wanted to say is, continue to be experimental, keep up, experiment with the new projects and build new projects, and be innovative.
Okay, be innovative. Okay, thank you all for participating, and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for our beautiful moderator and also the insightful sharing from our experts. So please, let's take a group photo together here. Thank you very much. Vâng, thưa quý vị, và phiên thảo luận tiếp theo, chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau lắng nghe những phân tích về các nền tảng cần thiết cho phép tiếp cận rộng rãi hơn các sản phẩm công nghệ chuỗi khối và Web3 tại Việt Nam, cũng như những vấn đề pháp lý và giáo dục người dùng phổ thông. Bên cạnh đó, sẽ cùng đưa ra các giải pháp như thế nào để chúng ta có thể thiết lập lòng tin của người dùng. giành được niềm tin của các tổ chức tài chính và chính phủ, đồng thời thực sự giải quyết các thách thức hiện tại. Xin mời mọi người cùng đến với chủ đề Crypto Assets in Vietnam, How to get out of the gray area trong phiên thảo luận sau đây. Và xin được mời lên sân khấu Mr. Lại Hồng Phong, Head of Business Development, Coin98. Xin mời lên sân khấu các diễn giả của chúng ta, Mr. Jonathan Phan, Director OKB Chain, OKX Desk Development Southeast Asia và Miss Linh Hoàng, Country Head of Binance. Xin trân trọng kính mời diễn giả và chủ tọa lên sân khấu để mang đến những chia sẻ hấp dẫn nhất cho toàn thể quý vị của chúng ta trong khán phòng ngày hôm nay. Xin chân thành cảm ơn.
All right. Hi everyone. First of all, I want to express my deepest appreciation for you guys to staying here until this hour. I know it's been a very long session and everyone had a lot of insight and knowledge to share from the first panelist and our speaker. But may I have your attention for a while now because I'm pretty sure that you guys don't want to miss what we're about to share in this session. So sitting with me here today is two professionals from two prominent names in the market, and I'm pretty sure that if you guys are in the industry for a while, you would already know them. But I will let them to introduce themselves first.
Hello everyone, my name is Lin and I currently managing Binance in Vietnam and I'm joined the crypto since 2016 because I won hackathon in Silicon Valley and all the reward they give me in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's how I end up into the industry.
Yeah, hello everyone. So for me, I'm Jonathan. I'm from OKX, part of the development team for the chain development and also the Web3 effort. I started crypto back in 2016 in US. I was a student, and I will remember all the time when I bought my first Bitcoin there. I think I bought it around $2,000, and it went up to 18,000 at some point. I mean, I didn't sell at 18,000. I sold it probably around 14,000, and I was so surprised because I didn't understand anything, and was able to make that amount of money as a student, pay my tuition fee. And that's when I started crypto, learning everything by myself until now. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, nice start. Okay, so I would like to start with the first questions for Ms. Lin here, because she is already in the market for pretty while now, pretty long now, and right now she is the country head of one of the biggest exchange that is used by Vietnamese people. So, from your point of view, could you say a bit more about how Vietnamese people are engaging with crypto right now?
For me, Vietnam is one of the top market for Binance, and I think that we are one of the leading blockchain industry as well. And I think that there are multiple stakeholders that contribute to the successful for the Vietnam blockchain ecosystem. For example, that we have trader, and in here in Vietnam trader, we have both holder and also daily trader. It's just they have different take in investing, and I think we should respect all of them. And another one is that we have that university like FPT and RMIT, they really support the blockchain ecosystem and they design the blockchain program that integrate into their teaching at school. And another stakeholder is that we also had a lot of builder, and the builder, they want to apply the blockchain technology into their business model. And more particularly, the government in Vietnam, I think they kind of open into the open to new technology like blockchain. So the regulation here is still gray area. So that's why it's not killing innovation completely yet. It still allow the room for us to do things with blockchain, digital assets. And of course, that also we had a foreign contributor like our company Binance. Basically, that we also do a lot of things in the last few years to contribute to growing the blockchain ecosystem in Vietnam. Example that two successful launch pads from Vietnam is IC Infinity and Coin98. They do launch pad on Binance.
And follow up with that, with your experience when working with community, so what do you think are the key concerns for the newcomer when they enter the industry?
I think the concern for the consumer when they enter the industry, there will be three things. First will be security, and the other one is UI and UX, and the last one is lack of knowledge. And maybe the recent one is regulation as well. So even though Vietnam, the crypto is still gray area, but we hope that the regulator will have a clear framework very soon. So both the trader or investor can easily they are more confident to invest in this industry.
And for Jonathan as well, so based on what Lynn just said, and based on your experience, you start as a retail user, and right now you are building really interesting stuff in OKX as well. So how do you think that a retail user can have a better experience when enter the industry?
Yeah, so for us, we are obviously competing with Binance, as everybody know. They are definitely number one here in Vietnam, so we just want to invade and get a little bit of more share for us. But on a more serious note, what we're looking for is to give a more seamless experience for the user, because first, there's a lot of regulation coming on board for a centralized exchange activity, especially on the derivative side. So what we intend to do on the OKX side is we try to move that part on blockchain. We try to do that kind of similarly to what GMX, DYDX do, but for us, we have the centralized exchange experience. So what we are building right now is we have now a wallet that is directly integrated with our application. So when you try our application, you have access to centralized exchange service, but you have also access to Web3 experience in the same app. So that's mean for us, funneling those users to Web3 is extremely simple. We just have to tell them to swipe, like Tinder, it's very simple. And they can try everything on that wallet. They have a non-custodian wallet. They can swap directly and cross-chain. So that means they can swap Ethereum versus Bitcoin, USDT on Ethereum versus Tron USDT, and they can have access to other dApp like NFT Marketplace, Yearn Finance, you name them. So our goal is to give that friendly user experience for the user to not have too much barrier entry where they don't need to learn too much. They can use the application as it is. And we are working on many other items in the future as well.
Really, really cool stuff. And another issue that I want to bring up to the discussion today, based on the sharing of Mr. Chung, Mr. Richard, and also Mr. Zen before, is that the legal aspect. So from your point of view when building OKX and also Binance, what are the legal barrier that prevent the development and also in blockchain and Web3 project, especially in Vietnam?
First of all, I just want to share my view with Jonathan. Binance, we don't want to compete with OKX. We want to grow the industry together, 1 billion user. And on the regulation side, in Vietnam, like I say, I think it's still okay. It's gray area. It's not. I think it's a good approach. Basically, we just wait for all the country to have clear regulation framework, and then we can learn from them. We don't have to be the first one to come up with the regulatory framework, because maybe that regulatory framework may not make sense. Yes. And from Binance, for regulation side, because we have license in some country as well, so we do have a really detailed KYC and AML protocol as well. It's not easy to just on Binance without KYC. And we also run a lot of workshops for law enforcement program. Last year, I think our investigation team hosting more than 70 workshops around the world for regulator.
Your question is what slowed the development in Vietnam for blockchain, right? The blockchain development.
From the legal perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I guess obviously one of the major items is first there's no real legal framework right now in Vietnam. As mentioned, it's very gray area, so we don't really know institution doesn't know what are they allowed to do or what they are not allowed to do. So I guess having that gray area actually is quite beneficial for the development, because that means people who will hustle or will take the risk, they will be able to maybe develop something. And on that aspect, government regulator, they will come up with some first legal framework. So that's what I think right now in Vietnam. But other than that, I feel development-wise, Vietnam is amazing for development, because there's a huge community of developer. Life is good too in Vietnam. So it's very a good match for like the crypto culture. Like we call ourselves degen for a reason, right? So it's a mix of like having a community to work with, but also a good life balance. So I think Vietnam is very good for that.
Yeah, thank you for that. And also follow up with that. I think when mentioned about mass adoption, although according to some other source of like analysis, but Vietnamese have like from 5 million to 10 million people that had access to crypto, have been using crypto for a while. But from my personal observation, we are pretty far from like mass adoption unless we have institutional financial institution and also the multinational company to join the industry. So from your point of view, how can we like ease their concern when they want to start something in Web3, so to invest and also explore the industry?
Yeah, of course. Like I think like now like there's no new money that came into blockchain or crypto lately. Like I think it's still the old money that was there for like few cycles. So for us to hit back a new bull run or like more development, I think we need to attract institutional, and that means probably like more reputed brand, like like those luxury brand, like I don't know, Chanel, Hermes, those guys. Obviously, if those guys start doing like crypto or blockchain development, it will give more credit for the retail or even institutional to come. Like we see already like a Web2 company like Amazon, Google Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, like coming supporting like all the business for Web3 development. So we can see already positive sign, and those positive signs will be like kind of like a domino effect. That means more institutional will come. They will try to do application blockchain. Like for example, I know Chanel is already working on like their own blockchain, where those bags, Chanel Classic, whatever, they have a chip inside and they can find out if those bags are real. I think like it will be the same for a lot of like those industry, like especially in the luxury, because it makes more sense for that. Yeah.
Do you have any input for this?
Actually, I agree with Jonathan, and I just want to add something that it will be happen. TradFi company like JP Morgan, BlackRock, they will enter the industry and it will make the industry bigger and bigger. Right now they just try to they will find a way to work with the crypto company and come up with the solution together. Yeah.
And there's a case study I want to share with you guys. It just happened this year, January, at the time when the Harmony Bridge got hacked, and the hacker transferred the money into the centralized exchange like Binance and Huobi. At that time, the prominent exchange in the industry that they worked together to freeze the fund from the hacker. So that was a really interesting case study. So when a hacker do some DeFi hack, he transfer on CeFi, and people work together to stop that. So from your point of view, how can we like help to promote this collaboration between big players in the industry even further?
I'm not too sure to understand your question. What's your question, actually?
Yeah, I was asking about like the collaboration between like the prominent player in the industry, like exchange and also audit together. So how can we work together to promote it even more?
Okay, yeah. Obviously, like now in the crypto industry, there's so many actors. And for a new player, they might not know who are the legit one, the big one, and the one that can be scammy, right? So I guess like we as like a big actor in the industry, like Binance, Coinbase, although big protocol play a very important role in terms of education, but also reputation. We need to ensure like we work together, like first to always give good credit for the crypto industry, because if we talk about crypto to any random people outside, they all think like we all scam, right? So we need to work obviously on that effort to change that picture. This example of freezing like a withdrawal or transaction is definitely one example, but we work on other stuff. We work also like on DeFi and decentralized manner, and that's so like DID that I would say try to improve the industry overall. So I think like yes, we definitely play an extremely important role on we comforting a bit the audience and the community regarding that. Yeah.
From Binance, like I already mentioned, we do have a compliance and investigation team at Binance, and that team working closely with regulator, and we also provide a workshop and training for them as well. Last year we done 70 workshops, and hopefully this year we can done with the regulator in Vietnam as well. Yeah.
And also, so when like we reach the mass adoption of crypto in Vietnam, so there will be an industry, and we have a lot of like positive impact on the economic growth, and also to create a new job demand for people. So, like from you, Lin, you have been in the Vietnam market for more than 5 years now, and so what do you think, like in the next 5 years, how the blockchain market in Vietnam gonna look like?
For me, the blockchain market in Vietnam in 5 years will continue growing really well, and in parallel with the growing on the global side. Because after 2025, I think we will see a very clear picture that blockchain will be the next big thing after the internet. And in terms of what you mentioned about the raw economic growth, I would say that we can use the example from the foreign investment. So if we know that right now Vietnam have 4 unicorns, and 3 unicorns is actually from traditional business, and it takes them 10 to 20 years to achieve 1 billion in revenue. But for blockchain, we had a unicorn as well, like Axie Infinity, and only it take them 3 years and 8 months. So that is one of the biggest factor that I can see it. Blockchain can bring more unicorn to Vietnam.
Yeah, for me, I think like how blockchain industry will grow in Vietnam is growing 100% for sure. One of the reasons is like the developer community, and all that developer community will bring basically a whole economy. First, like development, then BD for selling those products, and then investment. Basically, it will bring a lot of new job for those new talent. And right now, we can tell like the new generation, they don't look for like those standard job that we have before. They look for now working remote, mostly. After the COVID crisis, like everybody tried to think differently, and they want to work on something that is more innovative, maybe more fun for them as well. So I can tell, for example, in Vietnam, there's a strong traction. Like if I compare that to, for example, Bangkok or Singapore, I can tell like there's a lot of developer trying at least a lot of different ideas. So obviously, developer community. Just to take the example of developer community, like there's going to be developer building platform. Those platforms can then sell API, they can sell white label solution, and so on. I mean, the sky is the limit, right, for that. So for me, it's going to keep growing, especially on Southeast Asia for me right now. Like I see, for example, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam being like very strong in the future. Yeah.
And I know you have a huge interest in cryptocurrency and also DeFi specifically. And so from your point of view, like how do you imagine the next circle? What will be the trend, the keyword that will drive the growth of the industry?
The what, sorry?
What do you think that's going to be the next trend? What are going to transform the industry, blockchain industry?
Yeah, for me, I'm not sure, right? But I hope there's going to be another DeFi summer. I'm very into DeFi. Like actually, when I joined crypto and blockchain, I think the most application that can be applied for blockchain and cryptocurrencies was finance. So basically, DeFi, being able to send money to anybody, whenever I want, wherever I want, without permission. So that was the first reason. So I think DeFi will be like a very strong narrative, and we see now every DEX are building now like a DEX derivative. On either on layer 1 or layer 2, it depends. I know DYDX is doing that, GMX, even PancakeSwap is doing like their own ZK DEX. We are also doing our own DEX, so there's a lot of thing going on that aspect. So for me, there's going to be another DeFi, and obviously there's now new narrative, right? Like we see the BRC20, BRC20S. I mean, there's a lot of innovation still ongoing. Yeah.
Follow up with that, so when mentioning about the DEX and also the DeFi, from a central exchange perspective, so how is like we try to find a common ground to settle with anti-money laundering and the DeFi in finance from your point of view?
So obviously in terms of AML and compliance, all the centralized exchange, at least the big player, they will need to start working with the regulator in each country. We just applied for a Hong Kong license. We are right now getting to France in Paris. So we will have to basically work that out with those regulators, having the license and being compliant. This is a no choice because I mean, at least from OKX, we are planning to come on board with like a payment system as well. I think Binance have already that with Binance Pay. We're coming on board with that and with other service. So we will have to definitely comply because at the end of the day, we will have to work either with MasterCard, Visa, or Square. You know, we don't know exactly who's going to be the processor payment, but yeah, for working with those guys, we will need to comply with the country that we are in. Yeah.
And compliance is also a key word that Binance also mentioned, right? So, yeah. And I think there's a lot of things that you want to do, especially in Vietnam. So, what's your plan for like something like Binance Pay, also Binance Card in Vietnam?
For Binance Pay, we don't open for the market in Vietnam because due to regulation, crypto we cannot accept as the payment for product and service. So Binance Pay we don't have that in Vietnam. Yeah.
I see. And so, can you share a bit more about the plan for like another financial service? So I already see that you have plan for educational and also regulator, but also another. How about other products, financial product for people in Vietnam?
In Vietnam right now, what Binance we are trying to do is that we want to contribute as much as we can to build the blockchain ecosystem here. That means we want to do more education in blockchain and digital assets, and we also want to do it with the top level, not for the user, for the public, but we also want to educate regulator because regulator also have question about how to do AML process in the cryptocurrency, and we already had an expert in that, and we can provide the training to the regulator.
Okay, I see. So our time is up. So I think that's the last question for our roundtable panel discussion. So really thank you for your sharing and everything insight that you provide. So and I hope to see you around in GM Vietnam. So yeah, I think we're gonna come to the half lunch break right now. And thank you for your present today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for your insightful sharing. Vâng, thưa quý vị, vậy là chúng ta đã cùng trải qua được hơn 1/2 chặng đường của chương trình ngày hôm nay với nhiều chủ đề chia sẻ xung quanh blockchain. Còn bây giờ, kính mời quý vị cùng tự do nghỉ trưa. Chương trình của chúng ta sẽ quay trở lại với những chủ đề tiếp theo vào chiều nay vào lúc 1:30. Xin hẹn gặp lại quý anh chị ạ.